I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Generally, you said feminism is
neutral. Here's what actually happened.
The foundation of all knowledge.
I'm really mad that
what difference does it make, right? What
Stop. Stop.
The deregulation of the industry is obviously going to cause more of that industry.
To lubricate the trust connection between people until they have enough.
Yet we could still look at biological reality in determining who's a female, even if there are.
Why don't you denounce feminism the same way you're denouncing capitalism? If you don't...
For something to be objective, it needs to be verifiable. And you can't verify...
If I make a claim as a political pundit, it is true that I definitely could be wrong. You're promoting, right?
Ideology is the main tenet of politics, right? This is my ideology. So 2015, anyone go back and watch the footage? The first GOP debate.
Cool, Robert. Oh, that? With a crowbar, you said.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sara, the Raging Tomato, here, bringing to you live another debate. I will apologize immediately. I've still had the sneeze fits and the coughs and all of those things, so bear with me if I don't hit the mute button in time. Outside of that, I've got Whick TV and Rachel's Ghost from Ghost Town Politics here with me this evening to duke out the topic. Tuesday's election was a referendum on MAGA and is foreshadowing what is to come for midterms. Whick, if you'd like to begin with your opening statement, please.
Of course. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Rachel for being here, and I'd like to thank Sara for hosting this. I do appreciate that. That's always very kind of you, so thank you for that. I want to start by going back in time a little bit, okay? It's November 4th, 2024. Okay, Trump has just won, beating Harris. All 7 swing states have gone red. Trump and his supporters claim a mandate. The pundits and talking heads begin a drumbeat of Democrats are done. Trump's coalition is unbreakable. The House, the Senate, the presidency have all gone to Republicans. Could the Democrats ever recover? Was this a generational loss? Predictions were made, an economy fixed, a border secure, a time of peace and plenty. Fast forward 1 year. Virginia, a Democrat flips a governorship from red to blue by a 15-point margin. The lieutenant governor of the same state also flips to a Democrat with an 11-point margin. Hell, even the scandal-ridden attorney general candidate for Virginia, Jay Jones, wins by 6 points, ousting the Republican who previously held the position. In New Jersey, Cheryl wins by 14 points. In Pennsylvania, 3 Democratic Supreme Court justices defend their seats by an astonishing 20 to 30-point margins. Democrats pick up 2 statewide open judicial seats by similar margins. In Georgia, for the first time in decades, Democrats flip 2 non-federal statewide seats, winning by 20-plus point margins. And those were just the big races. From local to federal, across the board, over and over, Democrats routed MAGA and even normal Republicans, ousting them from office by the overwhelming will of the people. Republican strategist Christopher Nicholas estimated that of the 480-plus contested races in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania alone, which includes Pittsburgh, Republicans won 11. Why? What changed? Why was November 4th, 2024 exuberant for MAGA, where the Democrats were done, and today they won 11 out of 480 plus contested races, and that's just in a single county. I'll tell you why. And it's the same reason why they're going to continue to lose and lose in the midterms and lose hard, because of promises made and promises broken. We were promised plenty and we were given tweets. Epstein files? No, you don't get any of that. You get manufacturing industry crushing tariffs. Core goods prices ballooned 1.9% above trend by summer. Window treatments up 25%. Appliances 18% more expensive. Electronics gouging family budgets like a hidden tax on survival. Job growth crippled from 168,000 monthly jobs in 24 to a limp 74,000 now. Unemployment stagnant at 4.1%, but consumer confidence is cratering. Treasury Secretary Bessent admitted recently, I should say, and I quote, "Some portions of the economy are already in a recession, and others could fall into one." We have ICE agents refusing to identify themselves, running around in masks, pointing guns at veterans, saying, "Bang, bang, you're dead, liberal." Kirsty Noem gets on stage and lies to the American public's face that no citizens have been detained, when we have example after example of ICE doing just that. Trump's approval ratings have fallen to all-time lows, down 18 points at 59% disapproval, according to a recent Ipsos poll, and other polls, such as a CNN poll, shows much more dire results. Americans are angry. They're fed up. They're rejecting Trump's positions across the board. This administration has been marked by both its incompetence and cruelty. Midterms are a year away, and while no one knows the future for certain, we can look at the metrics. We can look at how consumers, how Americans, how the public, how the voting public is feeling, and they sent a message on Tuesday to put Trump and MAGA on notice. The blue wave is coming. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. That's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Whick. And Rachel, to you.
Oh, am I bleeding? Because I'm just so beat up from all of that. But anyway, I mean, that's great. You know, Tuesday, there was no doubt it was a huge win for the Democrats. But to put the crystal ball on the table, can you project from that with any assurance that events are going to unfold in a perfect world, undisturbed by any waves to the contrary? Probably you could say and argue that things will go deep blue, in the blue, the perennial blue tsunami is going to manifest. I don't believe that's the case. I believe there's too many variables at work, one of which we've just seen with the defection of 8 Democrats, with the Schumer shutdown, that it was proved to be very unpopular and also worked against the current administration. The shutdown did not help Trump at all, and in fact, it put the brakes on the economy to a certain extent. Now, I don't have my Funkenwagnall. I'm very elderly, so we use Funkenwagnalls. I don't have that at my disposal, Wick, because I didn't want to use the internet or have any prepared notes. I'm just off the cuff with some prepared thoughts about the whole process of the thing. Also, I do appreciate that you wore your Antifa outfit for the occasion with your little head to strike fear into my heart, as I'm already cut and bleeding from that incredible intro on your part. Folks, about myself a little bit. I am a Canadian weighing in here, but in my defense, my sister is an American citizen in Colorado. She's in Aspen. My grandfather born in Spokane. All my uncles Canadians. It's Veterans Day, but Remembrance Day, we call it up here in Canada. All of them born in the United States. So I have a vested interest in the United States. With any luck at all, my little outpost here in the frozen Great White North will turn into the 51st state before too long. Fingers crossed. So I really want to thank Sara providing the opportunity for Whick. Also, he's a good guy and very kind enough to have me on his show before. I think that there's just too many variables and too much events. There's so much happening right now, day to day, that if everything were to remain the same, I would concede the point right now. But I don't think things are going to stay stable. We're not in a vacuum. We've got a lot of indictments coming down. How many of these guys that were defeated on Tuesday were actually MAGA? You know, when Whick was saying in his opening statement, we thought the Democrats would never rise again. No one thought that. We've got people like Paul Rand hindering us at every step of the way, going, we don't want to stop the filibuster. And we need the filibuster ended. We need Trump to go through, because the Democrats, through lawfare, through corrupt judges, a corrupt judiciary that has been manhandled and manipulated and turned against this president by lower court judges far outside exceeding their authority, where it's had to go to the Supreme Court. Trump's won 23 in a row, by last reckoning, by my memory, of these court decisions that have been kicked up to the Supreme Court. Victory after victory. We need another big victory on tariffs. We need to keep the tariffs in place. That's going to work. The problem is there's so much. Trump's always running around with a piano on his back, but inflation is down, or the cost of living, inflation is down. I looked at the numbers, not by a great deal, but they are down over what Biden had in his administration, despite the boost that Biden's administration had following the passing of COVID. Once that blew out, then things started to pick up for his economy, for his administration. But still, Trump is performing better, even by very, leftist considerations, right, from leftist sources. So I say that there's too much happening. We've got convictions going down. We got Brennan being indicted before a grand jury, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, James Comey, I guess, what's his name, pencil neck Schiff, Adam Schiff is going to be, his numbers coming up to Russiagate, Russia. Trump just won against the BBC. They're in absolute disarray right now. And the Democrats themselves in disarray. Chuck Schumer, big trouble right now from his own people. The 8 Democrats who are there, 2 were apparently on the way out. The others aren't considering returning anyway. So the Dems are having internal struggles themselves. Very interesting. Nancy Pelosi is hanging it up as well. So thank God for that. So that's my bit. I'm prepared to discuss these things in some detail with Whick.
Perfect. Thank you so much. As a kind reminder to the audience, we're going to get through the debate. Then we will do closing statements. Then we will read and respond to your kind super chats. And then, of course, your favorite part, we will open up the panel so that if you have something you want to add to the conversation, you're going to be welcomed up here. Whick and Rachel, I leave the floor open to you.
Sure. So I guess the first thing I would ask you, Rachel, right? Given, I'll just grant to you that Trump has won a lot of the Supreme Court cases that have gone through, right? That's absolutely true that he has. And yet, the more he wins those, the less his approval rating seems to go, right? The lower his approval rating seems to go. And I'm not maybe suggesting those things aren't related, that those things are related, but I would suggest to you that these aren't a very good indicator of how an election will be turning out. And I mean, Democrats in disarray is a meme for a reason. And I won't lie that the 8 defecting Democrats that caved to Trump and to MAGA during the shutdown wasn't a great look, but I don't think that's going to play a real big role in people's decision-making process come the midterms. In fact, I don't think people are going to even really remember the shutdown come the midterms. But what they will remember and what they will affect them is their pocketbook. And things are getting harder to afford. People's groceries are getting more expensive. People want to buy coffee. That thing, it's almost doubled in price in some cases, right? And you're looking at these foodstuffs and these tariffs, the Trump turbulence tax that's going on. The economy can't handle it. again, as Peasant said, there are portions of the economy already in recession, and we can't spin that, right? Biden tried. Good Lord knows Biden tried to spin like the economy. The voters roundly rejected that. And I think the same thing's going to happen here too. Like, again, I'll just grant you, I don't know the future. I don't have a crystal ball here. But what I do have is data that I can make inferences off of. So looking at the data and the trend lines, things aren't getting better and they're not going well. And I don't think Trump and MAGA are going to be able to turn this ship around. And that's why I'm putting my money, right, on a blue wave come the midterms, because I do not think that Trump can change the fundamental math behind how people vote. And it's all about their wallet. It's all about their pocketbooks. They're going to have less money and less opportunity, and they're going to vote accordingly.
Yeah. Okay. So my response to that is who made the quote? It's the economy, stupid. Remember the the famous quote, right?
That was Clinton.
And so, Bill Clinton. So it's the economy, stupid. So I agree with you. The problem is that what people fail to see, and Republicans themselves, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a big target for the left, now has become a target for MAGA. And the left has to understand when they say things like, oh, you've got control of both houses, you've got it all, it should be clear sailing. Keep in mind that Trump has forever, in the first term especially, but even now in the second term, there are a lot of vested interests, old guard Republicans, we call them rhinos, that are dead set against Trump getting victory. And a lot of them are going to be up for, there's a lot of action behind scenes going on, deals going. I'd like to know what the hell's going on with Paul Rand. Who's paying his paycheck? I have some questions about Paul Rand and his operation against Trump, right?
Look, I can't speak to the inter-Republican rivalries. I don't know too much about Paul Rand, but what I can talk about is what the American public is thinking about MAGA and its policies in general. So I can't give you Paul Rand and who pays him. I don't know. But we can talk about why people seem to be running away from Trump's policies, all the way from tariffs to the economy in general to housing. Like did you see Trump's proposal for 50-year mortgages? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea. So the idea is that, and the reason it's a good idea is it's an affordability variable. There are so many variables at play, and it needs to be nuanced. And the reason it needs to be nuanced is because there is so much interference from foreign interference, land grabs, investment from particularly China. China's been a big problem in this regard. Trump is he's aware of the problem. Here's the deal. What some of these Republicans was leading to earlier is that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Paul Rand don't recognize that Trump's foreign policy is also his domestic policy, and that through the tariffing, even though in the short term, there's payment from the American people until we get our own thing up and running. Factories built in America. And we had Scott Bassett saying that himself, that it's going to take a while, but the infrastructure is being put in place. This is why Trump wants to do the nuclear option, on the filibuster, so he can push through, even though that's a double-edged sword because the Dems come in. But the argument from Trump's position is that they're going to do the filibuster anyway. They had already planned to do so, but they were unable to accomplish it because the Republicans stood in the way by virtue of their numbers last time they had control through the Biden presidency. But so it takes time. Do we have enough time to make it go? Trump is indicating through the tariffs, he needs the Supreme Court to back him up on the tariffs and then get that filibuster done, and he'll just ramrod it through. There's $2,000 headed to everybody's wallet. The idea is to bust a lot of these monopolies, a lot of these powers. So Trump said, okay, one of the problems is that everybody's paying meat. Now, here in Canada, again, I lose some of the impact of my argument. I have to reference to my neck of the woods. But I went looking in co-op at a beef loin for $275 for a slab of meat. That is absolutely insane. Nobody can afford that except for the very, very elite people. Hamburger is going up. Chicken is going up, the prices on all that. So Trump wants to hit the monopolies on the meat packers. Apparently, there's 4 meat packing companies that have control of it, a virtual monopoly, and that there's been questions about antitrust. Thank God for America. This is why you guys have the greatest nation on the planet, because in Canada, monopolies like that are not challenged. But they are.
Hey, if you want to,
President Trump is challenging them. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, but if you want to make this into Canada is much worse than America, yes, true. I mean, I'll just cede that to you. Yes, America is the greatest country on earth. I wouldn't argue with you there. But I guess all this is beside the point. You mentioned the filibuster needing to get overturned or ended in order for Trump to pass his agenda. Can I ask you, how likely do you think, and I know you're not someone who can predict the future 100%, so I won't hold you to a specific percentage, but how likely do you think it is that the Republicans under the current leadership are going to end the filibuster?
It is really interesting because there are people, a lot of no's holding out. The usual, Lisa Murkowski and there's Paul Rand has said no. So there are enemies of Trump. Trump has enemies within his own party that are still have to be brought to heel, if you will. Marjorie Taylor Greene is turning out to be problematic for us as well. So my feeling, my hope is that, and Trump's done it before, right? We've seen him win in these battles before. So let's hope for people on my side of the aisle that he'll get them on side. I don't know what concessions he has to make to them, but I mean, this latest thing, and we're not there yet, right? We still got to go through the House, see if it passes. For this, I'm talking about the shutdown, but there's another example where Trump needs to bring the victory home. So we're not there across the line yet. Seeing the 8 defections in the Senate was a huge help, but we're not there. We can't count our chickens till they hatch. We're going to find out when is that Wednesday, and then and then it goes to Trump's desk on Friday. So by Friday, we should have a really good understanding. I think it's going to end. I think the shutdown's going to end, and right as soon as that ends, you're automatically going to see a boost to the economy happen right there.
Do you honestly think that the economy was doing well before the shutdown?
No, the economy.
Well, what about the shutdown ending is going to improve the economy?
Well, because it has slowed it technically right now. It's already slowed it because
we don't know.
The government, because the government employees have been shut out. They're not getting paid. They've been suffering. So the whole thing is that now they'll be getting money back. Then they can go out and they can spend money, and the economy starts getting lubricated again.
We don't know how the economy has been doing, numbers wise. We haven't been able to get official numbers because the government's been shut down. So we don't know precisely yet what effect, if any, the shutdown had on the economy. I'm willing to grant you that it probably didn't help the economy. I'm willing to grant you that. But the argument that you're making seems to be that when the shutdown is finished, that this will, A, be good for Trump and his agenda. I would argue against that. I think the Democrats 100% won the shutdown battle, and I could give you reasons why if you want to explore that.
Yeah, you need to.
Okay, well, then I can do that. So one of the things that the shutdown did that I think is going to be very positive for Democrats is it brought into light one of the few issues that Democrats are in the 80% on an 80-20 issue. You know what an 80-20 issue is, where 80% of the public feels one way and 20% of the public doesn't like it, right? Or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Healthcare is one of those issues that consistently the public sides with the progressives on, that, hey, people should have healthcare. Okay. This is something that is a massive boon to Democrats electorally. And this shutdown fight put into stark relief who is for people getting health care and their ACA subsidies and who is against it. And I would argue that this has been a massive boon to the Democrats. And in fact, if you look at the polling, you can see that consistently the people, the electorate, blamed Trump for the shutdown. Okay, this has just been a win. There's been again, I think it should have gone on longer because it was working so well, and Democrats, for whatever reason, decided it was working too well and decided to give up at the last minute. I don't know why they did that, but if I could just finish real quick. I do think that seeing an up or down vote on the ACA is going to be harmful to the Republicans. I think it's going to decrease their chances when they see their Republican congressmen and senators vote against the ACA.
Yeah, healthcare is a big deal, and I do believe the Democrats win on that point. I think they win on healthcare because they win amongst their own base for that. Really, is I guess what I'm saying. And maybe we're really talking about those uncommitted or those independent voters that defined neither as Democrat or Republican. They certainly are not Trump loyalists. So I can concede that point that some sort of social health system. But as a Canadian, I can tell you, the more people you have, the more buggered up it is. And we have huge waiting lines here. You've got people going to America to get treated, to escape the morass and the inertia that's built into the system here that's overtaxed and is problematic. And we've had a brain drain on doctors. So, Canada's often cited as this great example of Medicare and free health, but nothing's free, and everybody should recognize that. Right now, they're starting to toy with universal guaranteed income up here. It is an absolute disaster, dumpster fire up here with socialist Canada. And by gum, we're socialists up here. So, but in terms of the lockdown, the reason it hurt the Democrats the reason those 8 Democrats conceded to go with the Republicans, because the shutdown hurt the government employees that weren't getting paid, military personnel, police, other government officials that weren't getting paid. Those government employees were hurting, still hurting until this thing gets resolved. And so they realize that those people, we call it the Schumer lockdown, and it's generally acknowledged that it was the Dems that shut the thing down. It wasn't Republican. It wasn't Trump to say we're going to shut it down. It was an impasse because the Democrats wanted illegals to have health care, and the Republicans weren't having anything to do with it. Said, we're not going to give them health care. We're not paying for it.
Yeah, the problem with that talking point, Rachel, is the public ain't buying it, right? The public, again, we have polling on this, we have data on this that shows that the public consistently throughout this shutdown has blamed and put the responsibility for it on Trump and the Republicans, because they know that Trump is the one who is in charge. The Republicans control the House, the Republicans control the Senate. It is their responsibility, since they have the power, in order to make a deal. Okay, that's, again, we have information on this, right? And I think we could point to Tuesday's election to showcase how real that data was. Those polls really came out, because you have Virginia, and Northern Virginia especially, who has a ton of federal workers who were very hard hit. You are correct in that they're very hard hit by the shutdown. Like a lot of, I know several personally who weren't getting paychecks, and it was getting rough. Okay.
It was brutal, yeah.
They were not blaming the Democrats for that. They were voting blue because of what was happening, because they recognize who's got the power, who has the responsibility to make a deal. Now, again, I don't think it should have ended as soon as it did, but I think that I could be wrong there. And I think some of the Democrats thought, we got everything we were going to get out of this realistically, and we don't want to see people starve, because let's be real, Trump was using SNAP benefits as a hostage. He took our SNAP benefits, people's SNAP benefits, hostage, and says, unless you reopen the government, I'm not going to use this emergency funding to fund the SNAP benefits. The emergency funding that's been set aside specifically to fund things like SNAP during shutdowns, he was holding that hostage, and they were trying to go through the courts to see if they could force his hand. But he was trying to withhold that, saying, I'm going to literally starve people unless you do what I want. And I think that people on like the electorate saw that, and I think they're going to vote accordingly. I don't think they're going to like that. They didn't on November, and I think that this is going to come up again, and they're going to again continuously punish him. For that.
I think there's some of the analysis, after the dust settled, a lot of the criticism for the candidates that were running. I mean, very few of them were openly, big time, high profile MAGA people. You can be a Republican and not MAGA, and that's one of the problems that Trump faces. That's why there is a significant degree of opposition to the president within both his first and second administrations. So when it comes to the Tuesday election, the Republicans were kind of fetishizing out the whole idea. We don't want trans and women's sports and a foreign policy. And this was kind of the perception that was being seen. Trump needs to get the America to see, and this is everybody on both sides of the aisle and everybody in between, that his foreign policy is injection fuel for the economy and it will work. He is bringing in money. There is more than Biden was bringing in, but it's not as much as he has said it has been. Trump's talking trillions of dollars, and the actual numbers are more like billions.
So he's lying to the American public.
He's not lying. What he's doing is
hold on. If he says one thing and the truth is another, what is that called?
It's called politicking. So what he's doing is politicking.
I told you lying. You're just using the same word.
No, here's why. Here's the difference, right? Because what he's doing is that he's rolling in figures that are money's gain from the tariffs that aren't actually real monies being generated independent of that process. So generally, economists don't count that. I'm not an economist. You should know that by the way I'm talking. But from what I understand, the economists say we don't take that as real economic. We don't count that. And Trump's saying you should count it. But Trump, for his part, wants to count it because the numbers get bigger that way. And so something to the effect of $10 trillion over 10 years is possible.
Well, here, let me ask it this way, because I'm not hearing a good argument, in my opinion, at least, about why you think the Republicans are going to perform better than they did in November in a year from now. So what is your best argument for why in 2026 that the Republicans are going to outperform in the midterms what they did in November, like last week?
Yeah. I pointed it out in my opening comment that there's these intangibles. So the crystal ball idea, like in a perfect calm sea, I go, you got use a football allegory. I've done the kick to you. You caught the ball on your 10-yard line and you're running it up the field and you're going to score a touchdown. The reality, however, is you got a whole team against that play. So there's no guarantee.
Okay, so what's the blocker?
So remember Howard Dean. Remember Howard Dean 2004 with the hee-haw. Everything was going good for Howard Dean, but suddenly, hee-haw. And then Howard Dean became a meme, and everything about him just absolutely collapsed in one moment. That's how fickle, that's how delicate the pendulum can swing within the context of political story. That's why there's no guarantee. That's why you cannot project just because you had a great Tuesday. You're like Charlie Brown with Lucy and the football. This time we really got Trump. This time for sure. Sure, Democrats, come and kick the football. And you come running up and you pull the ball out and you end up on your backs again. Kind of like Kamala. All right, go ahead, Whick.
Yeah, sure. The problem, though, is that in 2004, he did say yeehaw. And then during the midterms, the Democrats gained 6 seats in the Senate. So yeehaw indeed. Right?
Yeah,
like we can see done, right? Over and over again.
Yeah, Dean was done.
Just historically, just as a historical, I guess, artifact of modern day politics is that historically the midterms don't go well for the incumbent party. That's just in a normal run of things. It just seems to be the normal thing that happens. But compounding on that, we have the historic unpopularity of Trump and MAGA right now. And again, this isn't just the November elections I'm talking about. I'm talking about almost every special election since Trump got elected has gone way bluer than it should have, right? This is a consistent pattern in these elections, right? I'll give you a few examples. Let me get them up for you real quick here, okay?
I had no idea we could do this. I would have had a whole bunch of shit, hey, Grok, help me out here.
You didn't know you could bring stats to the debate?
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you about. We got January 28th, the state Senate in Iowa. Mike Zimmer, he was the first Democrat to flip a seat in 2025 in Iowa. Okay. We had March 2025. Okay. You have James Andrew Malone in a narrow win over Republican Josh Parsons. Not by a lot, but it was a Trump plus 15 district. Okay. And we have August in 26. We have Caitlin Dray, the second Iowa flip of the year. It broke the GOP supermajority in the state Senate. It blocked unilateral Republican actions like appointments and things like that. We have September 9th, James Walkinshaw in Virginia. We have, forgive me for this name, Adelita Grijalva in Arizona. And we can go down the list, right? And these were all won by Democrats. It just shows a pattern. And that pattern is that people do not like what MAGA is doing and selling. So I'm going to ask you again. What you mentioned the allegory of the football field, right? The metaphor or whatever you want to call it. What blockers do you guys have? What's going to stop this momentum by the Democrats, in your opinion?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things is they're intangible. So one of them, I think, what if a whole bunch of scandal comes up? We start throwing all your people in jail, not for bullshit like you tried to do with Trump with your 37 bullshit accounts on him, Russiagate, Pissgate, Christopher Steele and his ilk. These people, they went and raided Mar-a-Lago. The fact that they're going to be tried in Florida bodes very well for us. That story could get, if that gets out into the general public, all hell is going to break loose. So that could be a big change. That could be a big game changer.
Do you think,
right there.
Do you think the public watching federal agents arrest the political opponents is going to play well for them electorally? Do you think that's going to work out? Why?
I think.
Why do you think that's going to work out?
I think if they're guilty and it can be proven. So they've been very wise about how they've done this. There's no CNN at 5:00 outside Roger Stone when they came after Comey. He went quietly in. Comey was supposed to go in, I think, on a Saturday or something. He took his time getting there. About 2 weeks later, he finally sallied up to the FBI to turn himself in, as he was required by law. And there were no cameras there. There was no, Fox News wasn't called in to make a showcase of it, because when people are really guilty, you don't need the theatrics, which you people played. The Democrats played it to extremes. So we're going. Also, January 6th is falling apart. Your favorite thing, your favorite toy, January 6th is falling apart, and it's going to fall apart completely. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen come January. I think we're going to be seeing, this is the time Trump's saying, we're seeing gas prices come down. Trump's saying, and now they're high in California for obvious reasons, but everywhere else they're coming down, where Trump's calling for a $2 gallon price on gas, which is a marked improvement. He's going after these meat packaging companies, so you're going to see your meat prices come down. So Trump is taking charge in these areas. He's targeting specific areas of antitrust, corruption. He wants the DOJ to look at it. So, yeah, you're going to see some waking up, I guess you could call it. So people go, wow, it really was a criminal organization. We're talking treason. The word is treason.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think it's true that Trump and co haven't used theatrics. I'll give you one example. Do you remember the guy who threw a sandwich at a police officer that they arrested? They actually arrested him twice. The first time was just a normal arrest. The second time, they made sure the cameras were there and they frog marched him and sent like 50 officers to go make sure that they were being tough on crime. And I think that it was either Pam Bondi. Yeah, I believe it was Pam Bondi or Kash Patel, one of the two, had a whole press conference, maybe both, had a whole press conference on the thing where they were touting these out. Then you have Trump, the indictment for Comey. He had to fire his own federal prosecutors because they were looking at this case and thought there's nothing there. So he had to fire them and appoint someone who I think did insurance law in order to get someone to actually take it to a grand jury and try to indict them for it.
Well, the problem
I think
is
that the public are going to, just real quick, I think the public's going to look at all this and they're going to, again, all these arrests happened prior to November 4th, and November 4th went swimmingly for the Democrats. Why is it suddenly going to go different now? What's going to change?
Well, because the arrests, these are just indictments. Until they're arrested, locked up, and thrown in jail, then people are going to say there's no change, nothing to see here. This is no big deal. And so we actually need, and especially on our side of the aisle, we've been aching to see some real justice coming down. We know Adam Schiff is as crooked as 4 ways to Sunday. We want to see him taken down. We know that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok were villainous in their tweets, say, yeah, we got him. We'll stop him. There's no way he's going to be president. We'll stop him. Conspiratorial bullshit like that. The Steele dossier, Hillary Clinton coming back in the news. So all these people, you've got former head CIA with John Brennan, who's continued to talk and keep himself talking, which is getting him in further trouble. So we need to see concrete arrests happen. We need convictions, not just the indictments. But it is happening. Slowly but surely, it's grinding away. It is happening.
I would be shocked, and I mean, even bet you some money on this. Okay, we could play some money if you want. $50. That's as rich as my blood goes. If Comey actually gets not just if he gets found guilty in his indictment, right? So he's been indicted, but that's not a guilty verdict.
Correct.
So I'll give you $50 right now. I'll put $50 up, and if he gets found guilty, okay, then I'll give you $50. But if he gets found innocent, you can give me $50. Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is here, ma'am?
No, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Hey, you know why you won't do it? You're not confident in your assertion. Okay.
No, I'm confident in my assertion. I'm confident in the Mar-a-Lago, in the Florida case. I'm confident there. I'm not. Comey's getting tried in Maryland or some fucking thing, or Virginia. So there's not a hope in hell that Comey is going to get anything. Comey's going to walk. That's my prediction on him.
I think they're most of them going to walk.
But no, Jack Smith and his criminal organization went after Truth Social when Truth Social wasn't even incorporated, didn't even exist, and he subpoenaed all their papers and documents. The guy went after the president's phone. Letitia James is another one. She's running to get elected on nailing Trump. This is the kind of criminal organization the Democrats are running. It's running. This is why they're getting it on a wide-ranging conspiracy charge that's going to transcend any time limitations, date limitations, expiration issues are all going away. And because those idiots went down to Mar-a-Lago, it provided justification to try them all in Florida. And there you've got my $50. You're going to find some.
All of those people are found guilty.
I don't have to say all of them. All I have to do is say some big heads. Some big names are going to go down.
Name 3.
Jack Smith will go down.
Jack Smith. Who else?
Jack Smith will go. John Brennan will go.
John Brennan.
Oh, and John Bolton.
Found guilty and arrested.
I don't know where Bolton's getting tried.
Okay.
Do you know where Bolton's getting tried? If Bolton's getting tried, Bolton's done like dinner. So
all of this is
down in Florida, then he's guilty too.
To be clear, I might actually take you up on those. But all of this is also beside the point, because you can have circuses, but without bread, people still won't vote for you. And again, it's all about the economy, stupid. You can have all these arrests, all this political theatrics. And this is Trump's play. And I don't think it's working anymore with the American public. He is all about the pizzazz, the theatrics, the aesthetics of things. But when it comes time to govern, when it comes time to actually get things done, he's just not getting things done. And sure, you could say that, oh, well, unemployment hasn't risen that much. It's pretty steady. But if you look at would-be workers who have been jobless for more than 6 months, as of August, it's soared. It's increased by a huge percentage, okay? Another indicator of a troubled market is Black unemployment. After all these years, again, Black workers still tend to be last hired, first fired, and their unemployment has skyrocketed since May. We haven't yet seen mass layoffs outside of the federal government, but more and more jobs are getting harder and harder to come by, and more consumer confidence is just cratering. So
yeah, I would argue,
bread and circuses only work if you give them bread and circuses. And all that you're saying is that Trump is going to make some flashy arrests, and that's going to galvanize the public.
Well, I mean,
vote for Trump?
Us Trump loyalists, like, we're all happy with him. We see what's going on, like with the tariffs, and of course, his work in the in foreign policy has been off the charts. And he is not perfect, though. I mean, we would love to see no more money going to Ukraine. MAGA wants all that money cut off right now. There's no way they're going to win that war. So that's one thing. But we're not tossing the guy for it. It doesn't mean, oh, God, Trump's screwed up on the Ukraine, so now we got our vote coming in for Kamala. That's not going to happen. There's a snowball's chance in hell of that happening. And that's the problem for you Dems, is you have no leadership. Who the hell are you going to get to run for president? Michelle, Big Mike running in. Holy shit, using the football analogy. Holy shit, look at the size of that fucking linebacker. It's Big Mike Obama coming down. Move out of the way. She's going to be president.
I think that we could elect me. We could nominate me for the 2028 election, and we'd probably win. But I think we have our best chances with Newsom, Shapiro. Hell, even AOC might actually pull it off. I don't think she will run this term, but I think that, like, Shapiro or Newsom, absolutely. I think we have quite the bench. Buttigieg, even Ossoff.
All it takes is that meme of that fucker breastfeeding, and that's all you need from Buttigieg. Holy Christ, look at this. He's gotten his breast out to feed Junior.
Hey, if he can feed a baby, he can feed your family, which Trump ain't doing. Okay, let's be real. Okay, so people get hungry, they get desperate, and it might work. It might have worked a year ago. It might have worked a year ago.
Everybody be buying little Newsom breast devices to feed their juniors. Come here, little Nancy, suck on this. We're going with Gavin.
And did you hear Trump's latest on H-1B visa holders? He says, and I quote, H-1B visa holders are essential because there aren't enough talented Americans. This is Trump saying this. Do you think his base is going to like that?
Well, I mean, in terms of what kind of job market is he talking?
He's talking now. He's letting in 600,000 Chinese students, right, on H-1B visas, right, and workers and things on H-1B visas because, according to Trump, and I want to make clear, this is Trump saying it. He says, and I quote, H-1B visa holders are essential because there aren't enough talented Americans. Do you think that his base is going to be galvanized when he says stuff like that?
No, obviously.
Do you think they're going to come out and vote for him?
No, obviously not galvanized, but that.
And to be clear, Trump isn't on the ballot in 2026.
The issue is not enough to derail Trump. You guys still have to offer.
Trump isn't on the ballot in 2026.
What's your frickin' alternative? Gavin Newsom? Are you kidding me? California?
Yes, Newsom would
wow. How much is gas going for in
California?
But hey, again, Mr. Money guy that cares all about the money. How much fucking money is there in California for gas? Oh, let's just charge it up. Oh, no, we've got fires. No problem. We'll go take your housing over and give it to our newcomers. Cheap housing. Pacific Palisades. Hey, hobo, you want a nice little home or on beachfront property? Because Lord knows we wouldn't protect it with the fire. We got water, but we're saving the peckled trout. The
I don't
pack
know.
of
If
drugs
you
out
think
of
that
these
Trump could do
brains.
better, it's not working out for him. That's all I'm gotta say. And like, sound this is a good example of the average kind of MAGA voter and the MAGA mindset, and this is why they're going to lose come the midterms and also come 2028. Though
Keep
I'm
smoking that,
less certain
Ringo.
about 2028 than I am about 2026. But I'll give you this, right? You're full of sound, you're full of fury, but you don't signify anything. Again, people want results, and
Yeah,
you
but
got
you
to give them
got
results, because
nothing.
getting
You Buddy
elected
Pig, you
is
came up
only
with
half the
Buddy Pig
battle.
and
Then you got to
Newsom.
actually govern, and Trump has proven incapable of governing. What is his major
Newsom's proven
accomplishment?
himself incapable of being president ever.
Oh, what? Yeah,
And
what
he's
is his
gonna get
major
his ass handed.
accomplishment?
Whoever you people get, little JD, chubby. I love chubby JD. By the way, have you seen the chubby JD?
I've seen the chubby
He's
JD
adorable.
memes.
He's
And again, if
adorable.
you were
And
voting
America
on
loves him.
memes,
The world loves adorable chubby JD, and he's going to be our next president. Praise God. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing us a son of God in the form of Donald John Trump. He's just a beautiful little, he's like baby Jesus. He wouldn't hurt a fly. I love him.
oh man, this fan fiction is wild, and I think you're very creative. I do like the creativity. I like the performance. It's great. But at the end of the day, people don't want a TV show. They want to have a stable job. They want to feel that they can provide for their families. They want to feel that they are secure in their homes, and they want to feel like they have a future as an American. And I think that Trump has failed them. And I think that people are going to vote for accordingly. Because again, you would be correct if things improved between now and the midterms. But looking at all the policies that Trump is implementing and how they perform so far, I don't see that happening. And I've yet to hear a good argument that things are going to turn around economically, that things are going to turn around on people's confidence in the economy. Any of that. And these are the bread and butter issues that I think that Trump has just failed on.
Here's your problem. You got your Islamic socialist commie bastard running New York now. That's going to be fun to watch. The absolute dumpster fire waiting to unfold in New York. I'm hearing like people are already bailing. They're going, holy crap, this place is going to hell in a handbasket. We better get the hell out of here. It's going to start looking like what the hell is it in England? You know, some of these places in England, you know, towers or whatever down in London there. It's just absolutely going to go to shit. And, you know, we're us MAGA types. We're just going to sit back and go, you poor, poor, foolish, sad people. We wish you the best, but get out of New York and get Snake Blitzen and get the hell out of New York.
So I'm also skeptical if Mom Donnie can do what he's promised, but let's just for the sake of argument,
for everyone.
We're going to find out in about a year, right? In about a year, maybe more, and we can see if New York City goes to shit, or if it's just business as usual, or if it improves. If it goes to shit, okay, I think that's a hit on Mom Donnie, but I don't think that is a hit that is taken nationally by Democrats. However, if Mom Donnie doesn't destroy the whole city and it's not this apocalyptic wasteland, I think that it actually helps the Democrats. And I think if, God forbid, this happens, I don't think it will, but, you know, stranger things have happened. He actually does make the lives of New York City citizens better. Then I think that absolutely will help the Democrats. Now, do I think that will happen? I don't know. I think it's going to be business as usual. I don't think he's going to be able to implement the more harmful policies that he says he's wanted.
The more harmful policies?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to implement it. He's only a mayor.
Do you hear yourself? The more harm. I don't think he's really going to do the harmful shit.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he can.
The gates of hell, Mordor. Have you seen the meme with the eye of?
You think he's gonna open the gates of hell in New York City? Is he going to perform a ritual and summon demons? I mean, shit, I might vote for him if he summons some fucking demons. I don't want a demon summoned on me. That shit's scary. Demons
I know.
are crazy.
Well, Mamdoni is scary. He's a scary cat.
I wonder if Mamdoni summoned the demons that attacked Tucker Carlson.
Here's the deal, Ringo. Is because I'm up in Canada, we got our socials. We know what a Mamdani looks like. The whole country up here is filled with them. Our parliament is filled with them. They're the most corrupt, manipulative types. Did you see some of that footage? What the hell's with you Democrats, by the way? Anyway, anytime you get in New York, you're going, hi, hey, everybody, whatever the hell. I can't do a New York accent, save my ass. But, go down, or when they're down talking to people in Alabama, I'm just a poor little sharecropper. I remember when I was just coming out and old Clem got the hay, and we just go, and please vote for me, bring in chillums. We want them. And this Mom Donnie played the same thing, only he's doing it pandering to his because I am very happy to be here. I go, and then he's talking like to a normal guy. He goes, I don't know, we're trying our best to get along here. Oh, excuse me, I got to talk to Aham. Hey, Aham, it's so nice to see you. Please give me a vote. I need to get elected. I am Democrat. Me, I'm your friend. Me, I'm friend. Oh, me vote for you too, Mandani. Me, I'm friend too. This is where you people are at. It's a horrible thing to witness. And us poor MAGA have to sit back and, oh my God, what are they doing?
If we were judging tonight on who could do the silliest voices or make the funniest faces, I think you got this in the bag. But the problem we have here is I don't think you've addressed any of my points. And frankly, when I make a point, you go off on a silly voice and a funny face, and it doesn't address anything I just said. And it's kind of effective because I kind of forget what I just said. So kudos to you in that regard. But the point remains that we have these fundamental factors that we know drive voters, like what drives voters to the polls, what drives them to the ballot box, what makes them actually make a decision on who they're going to vote for, and the metrics, the economy, mainly the economy, security of the nation. These are all something that Trump is underwater on.
I want to see the filibuster go through. I want to see the meatpacking conglomerates brought to heel. That'll bring some money in. $2,000
bucks. The filibuster isn't going anywhere. You know that, right?
I'm sorry.
The filibuster is not going anywhere. So
we'll
if
see.
You need the filibuster to go somewhere to win the midterm, that's not happening.
Listen, foreskin, do you deal with the head? I'm telling you, listen, with your prognostication, you don't know if it's going to be beaten or defeated or
I'll bet you $100 that they don't end the filibuster within the next year.
No one can say. That's my whole point. You can't say.
I can pretty safely say this one, that the Senate Democrats and Republicans both, right? There are plenty of people, especially Republicans, right? There are so many Republican senators that are against ending the filibuster.
Well, we got four. You're hearing
move
four.
Heaven and earth, and I don't think they can.
I got four, and it's the usual suspects, right? There's four holdouts on.
No, there's more than four holdouts. Hold on.
Well, go look it up in your Funkin' Wagnall. You young people with your internet.
Wagnall? You mean Google?
I can't. Yeah, exactly. I can't pick Rachel on, so I got to go look it up on Google. Just hang on, Rach. We're going to have a good debate. But I've got to Google it first.
I Googled this previously. I researched this. I read articles on this. Yes, I looked at the information at hand, and I built an argument.
I understood there would be no math. Come on, do better, Whick. You're good.
There's about 13 Republican senators who all oppose ending the filibuster. The filibuster ain't going anywhere. In fact, the best chance you had of ending the filibuster was if the shutdown had prolonged. If we were in January and the filibuster was still, the shutdown was still going, then you might have a better argument. But no, especially after the shutdown ended, they're not touching the filibuster.
Too many variables. You'll see. We'll wait and see. It ain't over till it's over. Destroy it. Nuke it now.
I mean, look,
nuke the filibuster. Make it happen.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's 100% chance, but I'm saying it's like a 90% chance, which is high enough for me to make very definitive claims here that with the variables that we have in play, economic, political, how people are feeling secure, safe in their jobs, etc., how few people are feeling in the direction of the country, we can look at all these things and we can safely predict that, especially given historical trends, that the midterms are going to go very poorly for the incumbent party, and especially poorly for MAGA and Trump. We're going to pick up in the Democrats at least 3 Senate seats. I would argue that.
Fortunately, I have my own powerful breast, Wick. I'd be prepared to breastfeed you. Al, I'm going to breastfeed you.
I don't want to be breastfed
your
by
gig.
you. I'm sorry. I don't want to be breastfed by you.
Your little tummy is going to be so filled. You're going, oh, thank God, Rachel, you came along to feed me because all my Democrat talking points are full of crap. Thank you, Rachel. And I'll go, hey, man, Wick, it's the least. It's the least I can do for you.
I'll be okay. I don't know.
You think you'll be okay? Oh, wait till Mondani's done.
Well, let me ask you: what do you think the odds are of Trump being able to turn the economy around in a year?
I don't know, 60-40, I'd say. 60-40.
Walk me through it. Walk me through the process of how we get from here to there.
Well, as soon as
people's consumer confidence in the economy.
Here's how it works. Things are going to fall into place very quickly. If he nukes the filibuster, right away he starts just dictating legislation. Pass.
Okay, so we have to nuke the filibuster. That's step one.
Got to nuke the filibuster. It's critical. Trump knows it's critical. That's why he's been banging on about it so much. Nuke the filibuster. We got to do it.
But we've already discussed how that's very unlikely to happen, correct?
I go 60-40 in your favor. 60-40.
Okay. So already I'm
the
necessary step that you are arguing has to happen for Trump to turn around the economy is most likely not going to happen, according to you. That's your argument.
In a year, you gave me a year parameter. So within a year, we got to nuke the filibuster.
That's when the midterms are.
In a year.
That's the debate. That's when the midterms are. That's the parameter I'm giving you.
How
long till the midterms? It's got to turn around before the midterms.
Yeah, but I already said there's other variables coming in. If we can show what a corrupt, sick lot of crazy people you Democrats, what was Trump calling me? The left is crazy, left is demented.
Okay, so the second thing has to happen is you have to arrest Democratic senators and politicians.
Well, I think, bring some truth to it. Let's see some real justice in America. That would be nice. I would like that. Wouldn't you like that, America? I would like that.
Okay. What else? So this is your path that you're arguing.
I would like to see
end the filibuster, arrest our political opponents.
Hold on. And antitrust those meat packers. The DOJ's looking into
get
that.
Those meat packers out of here.
Get them because their meat's going to be cheaper. So you're going to feel that at the grocery store. You're going to go in, even though you're going to be looking for Buttigieg's nipple, you're going to be moving right on past that. You're going to get a nice healthy steak like a normal American would eat, rather sucking on the supple breast of frickin' Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, those meat packers have to be dealt with. That's the third pillar in your foolproof plan to turn around the economy. Okay, I'm just saying that none of those, well, maybe the meat packing thing, I don't know enough about the meat packers. I'll leave that to your expertise. But the other two, ending the filibuster and successfully convicting their political opponents, I don't see either of those two happening.
Well, I do.
Okay. I just don't
60-40.
I think doesn't support that conclusion.
I'm rolling the dice here. I'm going to blow on the dice. And we're just going to give it a crapshoot. We hope that Trump's going to be able to get these guys on board. And Trump's he's the great negotiator. This is the thing about our Donald, our beloved Donald. He's ended 8 wars. It's so beautiful. 8 wars have ended. So now we're working on Ukraine. Holy smokes, what a meat grinder that thing is. So, things are going good. Wick, I don't know where we can go. Are we starting to get circular here? Are we reaching that point, Sarah? What's your take on the debate? How are you?
I don't know how to argue with the meat packing point. I will say that I think I'm pretty confident that my argument against the filibuster ending was fairly persuasive. I think I have the data there. As for successfully convicting our political opponents, I don't see that playing well. Even if you are successful, which I doubt you will be, I don't see that being something that the public takes kindly to. They didn't during the Biden administration, right? And I don't grant you that they were the same, but even if I did, people looked at that and thought, we don't want that. We're going to vote for the other guy. So if Trump was successful in doing this, I think it will work out the same for him as it did for Biden, and then work out at all.
Here's the other problem.
And I think we have history to show that that's the case.
Speaking of scandals, of course, we got the whole auto pen. Biden wasn't there. Everybody's getting, and the January 6th, this is another thing. Those January 6th cats, half of them Republicans, those idiots, they're going to be indicted as well. So look out for that.
I'm betting $1,000 that doesn't happen.
Oh, really?
That they
Are you
don't
sure
get
about
convicted.
that? Are you sure about that?
That the 5 Republicans on the January 6th committee that they don't get convicted.
They're going to go after
$1,000.
Oh yeah. Cheney's done
within the next year.
She's done. Yeah.
Well, Cheney's dead.
Not Dick, the baby, his daughter, his little
Liz
baby
Cheney.
daughter.
You think Liz Cheney's going to jail?
She was on January. She was the committee head. Her, Schiff. Who's that other guy that's always crying? You guys have. You have these Democrats. They're always crying like little girls. They're all
Rob North.
I don't know. They're always crying. I can't tell you what's going on. Either that or you're speaking ghetto. And those are your white ones. But, this is the nature of the Democrat Party in 2025. This is why they're going to get their asses handed to them no matter what, because you don't have a leader. And you can't mention Mr. Bubble Breast, frickin' Pete Buttigieg, and you can't go with Gavin Newsom because nobody likes Gavin Newsom. He's no way that guy's going to be your nominee. You're going to have to go up with Ilhan Omar if she's not deported back to Somalia. With any luck, maybe she will be, gang. Well, that's great, Whick. With your loud, boisterous attitude, you've made Sara go poo-poo or pee-pee. She's had to leave the TV show.
Well, it's our show now, I guess. I just think that, I don't know where to go from here. I've made my case. I don't. There's nothing to chew on. You're not giving me anything to actually refute my points. So
I know. Isn't it the brilliance of my style?
I guess so. What do I say to someone who thinks that the filibuster has to end, the political opponents have to be convicted, and that the meat packers have to be dealt with before Trump can attain?
Don't you want to pay less for meat, Whick, or are you happy paying for antitrust conglomerate? These guys hiking prices up.
Man, I got chickens that I raise. I just eat those.
Hey, Invisible Ray, one of my old buddies from England. Ray, I love you. Good to see Invisible Ray. He's a legend, by God. He's a Cockney, true Cockney, born within 5 rings of St. Mary's bells. Sara, what a hell of a show. This is fun. I love Whick. He's a lot of fun. What I wouldn't pay to see him do is a little Buttigieg breastfeeding, though, especially in his beautiful little Hobbit outfit or whatever the hell that is. But it's cute, especially for television purposes.
If you feel like you're at kind of a stagnation here, we could just maneuver into some super chats and then open the panel up and
let's
see where
that
that
goes. I think we've gone as far as we're gonna go.
Thank you. I want to thank Whick.
We can get to closings, we can get to super chats, we can get to open panel, and that should be
fun. Okay.
That's fine, Rachel.
Whick, you're saying it like you have no heart or soul. You sound like a Democrat candidate that's just had their ass handed to them. Oh my God, we can just open it up to everybody. I just feel so sad right now after getting my ass whooped by Rachel. Okay, go ahead.
Closing statement starts with you, Rachel.
Well, this has been fun. I mean, Whick's great. Points to Whick, I guess, are I think we do need the filibuster if you're looking at a year, if that's going to be the only thing. My point is there's too many variables at large. A single event could change the news cycle, the narrative, right? We've seen this happen time and time again. A story breaks and another story comes and the world's attention is diverted until the next thing. And this is, an old playbook. It's happened time and time again. So there's a lot that can happen between now and then. Filibuster going would be a big boon to Trump. Seeing those Democrats fight amongst themselves, having 8 cross the floor on this issue to reopen the government is a good presage, a good sign, indicator that we're going to see the end of this shutdown, and that is going to help Trump's economy as well. And we do want corruption to go. We want to see some victories. There's no issue with Trump's base. We're just loyal. And we recognize, like the idea with the HB1 from, India, we're bringing in all their techs and some 800 Chinese, we're all going, what is that? Get away with that, Trump. But that's Trumpy Bear. And we know that he got sucked in on some stuff, especially the first time. When he was on Joe Rogan, it was really telling because Joe Rogan asked him, he said, what was it like? You come in there. He goes, well, you get in there. He goes, I'm a New York guy. I don't know what's going on in Washington. I get in there, and it was an education, so I had to rely on people. One of the people that I talked to and they recommended, I got John Bolton. Then somebody came up to me, pulled me aside. By the way, Don, be careful of Bolton. Whatever you do, don't go get Bolton. And this is what Trump's telling Rogan. And then Trump goes to the guy that told him don't get John Bolton in. Trump goes, oh, shit, I kind of just hired the guy. I just gave him a position in the cabinet. So this is the kind of thing, the inexperience. But he's an honest guy. That resonates with the base. So the base isn't the issue. It's the undecideds. I think there's going to be some stories coming up that are going to capture the attention of the American people. And with some victories for your wallets, gas prices coming down, prices of meat coming down, which is critical. You got to have your meat, kids. You got these canine teeth. Don't be a vegan like our friend Whick here. That's not going to keep you healthy. Okay, that's it for me. Whick, I love you. Go ahead.
Go ahead to you, Whick.
Wow. I'll say this. I'll keep it short and sweet. If we continue, and I think we will, down the paths we are on, we are looking to see a poorer, less safe American continent. And I don't think that the American people are going to be too pleased with how Trump has handled the trust that the American people have given him. They've trusted him to keep his promises, to help lower prices, to help them have more economic opportunity, to help them feel safer. And I don't think he's done a single thing to do this. If you wanted to look at his legislative accomplishments, you'd be hard-pressed to find any that he's actually done. He's made a lot of memes. He's made a lot of tweets. But I don't think that can feed a family or help people out when they're looking to get a job or get a good education or have a better future. At the end of the day, it's looking like a blue wave. I've heard nothing here tonight to convince me otherwise. If your argument requires the filibuster to be gone, Democratic politicians and operatives to be in jail, and meat packers to be dealt with, I just think you're not gonna. Yeah, that dog don't hunt, to use another Clintonism. It's not going to work for you. And yeah, I think that we are looking at a blue wave in the midterms, and nothing has convinced me otherwise. Thank you for your time.
Also, one point, you know what would be great, good fun? For Whick and I to come back after the midterms and have the dust is settled. What do you think happened?
Sure,
and
we can do that.
That might be fun.
Do a little victory lap for me.
Well, I've gone ahead and I've dropped the link for open panel if anybody wants to come on and continue the conversation. Otherwise, we'll read. There's just a few super chats, so we might be sitting here with our hands in our laps for a while. James says with the Big Ten, since you are grifting on your veteran status, what branch and what did you do? I was in the Air Force, and I already told you what I did in the chat. So,
oh, is that to me? I was also in the Air Force. I was a cryptolinguist for a few years, and I was a crew chief for a few more years. So there you go. I don't know who that was to. So
very nice. And a reminder: the panel's open. You can click the button effigy. All that shit talking in chat that you're doing. There you go. That's what I thought. Get your ass back there. All right, and then Calvin says, and where's Calvin at? I know you got a lot. You brought this topic up during open panel grab bag. You should get your ass up here too and talk about it. Calvin says, question for the Rachel, the one and only. Yes. As a Canadian, how does she reconcile her support for Trump in lieu of his disrespectful rhetoric, hate, and harmful policy tariffs towards Canada?
Well, Trump's right in what he says in terms of we've got a monopoly, particularly with the dairy products in Canada. So it's unfair. We've got a 400% tariff on the United States when it comes to dairy. So it's not an even playing field. So Trump's quite right that the balance in trade between Canada and the U.S. has not been fair. It's all been tilted in Canada's favor. We get away with it because we've got 44 million people and you've got 360 million, sort of thing. The other problem for Canada is that we've hitched our wagon to China and the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, who's the head of that thing? Albert Speer, whoever the guy, the guy talks like a Bond villain. Hello, we are here to take you over. We have a number of our young candidates. We have infiltrated governments in the world. And then, so anyway, this Klaus Schwab guy, so he did that. So Trudeau was one of his guys. Our deputy prime minister, which is like our VP up here, our Vance version. This lady, I use it lightly. I think I'm more of a lady than she is. But anyway, she was trained. She was actually on the board of governors for the World Economic Forum while she was the deputy prime minister of Canada. Is there a conflict of interest there? I would argue there is. So there's a lot of problems in terms of Canada's orientation towards China. Trump saw it, and Trump's on it, and he's crippling it. Also, the fentanyl on our border. So I fully support Trump on that. Trump's absolutely right. Canada's government was wrong about it. We just caught a whole bunch of barrels, blue barrels, by the way, that look suspiciously like the kind of blue barrels you're seeing on these boats rocketing out of Venezuela, getting their asses blown out of the water. Same criminals, same actors. It's China. So it's a problem. China's a huge player in Canada. Trump sees it. So Canada's muscling Canada to get us in line. We need to be brought in line. We're a socialist shit show. And if you're watching what's going on in British Columbia, we're losing land rights. You can't even own property. You will own nothing and you will be miserable. As native land claims untreated, they all go, we're having our little meeting on unceded land. So all of that's because of that. So there's nothing hateful about what Trump's doing. He's writing an unjust balance. I pray to God he gets his way. Canada's a joke. And there was a British veteran that said, what I fought for, what our people fought for wasn't worth it. I don't think we'd fight. I had 5 uncles fight in World War II on my mom's side. All 5 of her brothers fought. One was killed on April 14th, 1945 in Zwolle in the Netherlands. Another brother wounded. These guys fought for everything and sacrificed their lives, everything. And I don't know if it was worth it as I look at Canada today, as it's becoming barely recognizable to the country it once was. So, I'm all in on Trump on that one. Go Trump.
Whick, did you want to add anything to that?
I'm not Canadian, and I don't respect Canadians, and Canadians aren't worth talking about. So that's my
opinion. With Whick. Yeah. Good point.
Oh,
Whick.
wow.
I agree with that.
Somebody also brought up the 50-year mortgage. Rachel, because you said you were fine with a 50-year mortgage. I have so many thoughts against that. I understand like the affordability now, but that's a lot of interest that you're paying for a very long time.
Well, the point is it gives you a shot at it. If they don't do that, go get a house. Good luck to you. Mm-hmm. How are you going to get a house?
Maybe cancel a lot of your subscriptions that you're doing. Maybe work a little bit and maybe, pull yourself up by the bootstraps just a bit. Save some money. Don't get the $20 mocha latte frappe MAGA machino slop, okay? And get the cheaper store brand, generic brand of coffee.
Well, I think that's not enough.
This 50-year mortgage thing, debt is a form of slavery. Okay. And to put people into debt for 50 years is insane. The amount of interest you're going to be paying from 30 years to 50 years is hundreds and thousands to millions in some cases, depending on the mortgage, of dollars more than you would otherwise pay. So when we talk about affordability and we talk about like actually owning your own home instead of just basically paying rent for 50 years, because there's a good chance you'll be dead before you pay off your home. That's crazy.
Yeah, I just look at the interest rate in and of itself. Even over a 50. I mean, I'm assuming the hope would be get the 50-year mortgage now at whatever interest rate they're offering. It's probably not that great. But then the hope would be to refinance later back down to a 30-year with a better interest rate option. I'm assuming that's the placement of it, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. And what if it gets worse, right? So, I mean, that's a lot of.
Yeah, that leads into discussions about the whole nature of the economic system and the Federal Reserve, how we work money, how we print money, how come we're off the gold standard. You know, there's all sorts of implications about that. Who owns the land? How does that work? You know, if people buy up, if big conglomerates like BlackRock are buying up properties all over the place because they know there's money in residential. So they're buying these things up. These conglomerates are buying them. So they're manipulating it.
And a kind reminder, especially you, Rynyald, I know you'd have fun with this one, but the panel is open. Go ahead and click the link and jump backstage. We'll bring you up here in just a minute. Tyler and Tatiana say, yeah, Whick, let's not pull up Biden's approval ratings for his first year or Obama's. Let's keep that hidden.
We
TBS at its finest.
Okay, we could directly compare these numbers, and I'm happy to do so. Donald Trump is worse now than he was in his first term. He's worse than Biden. He's worse than Obama at similar periods during their presidency. So I'm happy to compare these numbers if you'd like.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the variable here is that we got a lockdown right now, and that's making people unhappy, and as rightfully so. That's why it needs to end.
I put a link in the chat there. I don't know if you can bring that up. It might be helpful, and we could just look at it together, and we could look at where each president was during this period of their term, from Obama, Biden, Trump first, Trump second, and we could just look at the numbers. I think it'd be very helpful.
Let me put this on screen.
It's the first graph, right? The very first one. You can just look at it. Yeah, if you just go down, scroll a little down. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Right? You can see the big red line being Trump 2025, the two dotted lines on top, Biden and Obama, and then the Trump one is the little red dotted line. And you can just look.
So Trump's never been more popular than Obama. According to this, Obama and Biden were always more popular than Trump has ever been.
At least during this portion of their presidency, yes.
Well, they didn't deal with what Trump's dealing with here.
Okay.
Lock down the government. You're gonna. That's why the Dems locked it down. They knew to create chaos. That's their game plan.
All right. And last one, James says, Trump brings in low propensity voters. Without him on ballot, GOP has problems. DC juries are over 90% Dems, so they won't convict any swamp creatures. I would like Inauguration Day Trump back.
And midterms famously don't get low propensity voters out to the polls. And I have bad news for you, James. Trump is never going to be on the ballot again. Never going to be on the ballot again. He's done. It's just not going to happen. So he's not there. You're not going to get those numbers ever again. So here we are.
Rachel, anything to you?
Oh, on this comment? Well, I mean, you know, traditionally the midterms, the incumbent always struggles in the midterms anyway. But I think this lockdown is a variable in it. But Trump's numbers have been very good so far up to this point. So we'll see what happens. Again,
we just saw the numbers. They weren't good.
And in terms of variables, things can change. Fortunes change. The president's approval ratings can go up with a single event. It can be a single event, and it'll change everything.
But if you're hoping for a miracle, you start praying.
I don't think it needs a miracle.
It's gonna work. But
I don't think we're needing a miracle at all. I don't think it's anywhere near that.
Fair enough. All right, I've got a few people backstage ready to come on and play, and I will go ahead and bring them up. If you do want to join Open Panel, the link is pinned over in my chat. Let's go. All right. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm going to switch to two around. There we go. Effigy, you were waiting patiently back there. I know you're talking shit in chat and saying, what, Rachel? What, Rachel? So go ahead and spit it on out.
Yeah, I'm glad we could come on and interrupt Rachel's stream of consciousness. But I mean, most of it just sounded like rabbit hole shit. Like as soon as you started tumbling, it was like you just kept picking up pace, jumping from one thing to one thing to one thing to one thing. Yeah, I'm kind of just at a loss.
No, me too, Effigy. Me too. Okay, what do you do with this? How do you handle it? Right? You just give them some points, and then they go off and talk about like a
Me three
state, and you're like, okay. Oh, we're getting an echo.
Yeah, I got it. I know who it's coming from. Go ahead.
Okay.
Effigy?
But yes, I think you'd be silly not to recognize what kind of wave electorally just happened as far as like elections across the country. Nothing would be a greater example than those rare counties where, like, I think there was one county that hadn't flipped in like 90 something years or something like that. There were deeply entrenched places
there were a
that
few
flipped.
Of those counties, frankly. There's more than one example of things that haven't happened in 100 years. Suddenly, Democrats are winning.
Yeah, and I think it does tell us that there is a really hard sentiment in the electors right now and in the people right now. Remember what one of the things that tipped Trump over the edge as far as his election gains was that he had, which was rare for Republicans, he actually had a multiracial coalition. If that tips back in any way, Republicans are going to get stomped, especially with what Whick was saying with him not being on the ballot. Like that's something that Republicans are going to have to fucking contend with, and if they want to draw it out, they can. But every election from this point on, it's just them. They don't get to piggyback off of anyone. So, yeah, when it comes down to it, I think you'll find that everyone's going to blame them for everything, especially the shitty shit that Trump's going to try to do on his way out.
Well, let me just ask the people who are on the right here. Who do you think takes up Trump's mantle? Do you think that J.D. Vance can pull Trump numbers?
Pretty close.
No, not so much. No, not so much.
He's a formidable. He'll be a formidable candidate.
No, I think if you really want to put someone up there who can get numbers, Ben Shapiro would. If he
no.
Yes, Ben would.
No.
Yes.
No way will Shapiro. Shapiro's too divisive.
Well,
no way. MAGA doesn't even like Shapiro.
So
we don't want. Nobody wants. No way, Shapiro.
Let me state a very unpopular opinion. We need to stop putting fucking personalities in Congress like it's the fucking media, like it's celebrities, like it's movie stars. We need actual politicians. Like I'll be one of the people who say the most hated phrase ever. We need politicians who are willing to compromise and negotiate. Yes, people who get shit done.
That's why I support Josh Shapiro for 2028 on the Democratic side, Democratic ticket. He's the governor of Pennsylvania, my state. He gets shit done. And he's actually one of the few Democrats who's popular among young white men too. Like he's got good numbers, approval ratings in Pennsylvania. I think that if we elect him, and I don't know if we will, but I hope we do, and nominate him in 2028 to be the Democratic representative, I think we just crush. But as like when it comes to like,
it just seems like politics has become an audition nowadays.
Real quick, effigy. Like you say that we need to do that, but I would argue that the likelihood of that happening is probably just as likely as the filibuster ending. It's probably not happening.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Saint,
I wanted to make sure Saint or Calvin, if you wanted to add any other thought in.
Well, the only thing I have to say is, who was the Indian Republican candidate from last year?
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yes, I thought he had. I think he had a lot of pull with people, more than Trump did. I think that he had a lot of
Trump.
Yeah, I do. Well,
I
think
you were in the nomination
in specific sectors, maybe like crypto crowd for sure.
Yeah, he got in trouble. He got in trouble. I forget what he did, but he alienated half the base, and he basically another Howard Dean. He went the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah, well,
wasn't he originally part of Doge? Like Vivek was. It was supposed to be two-man. They were supposed to head Doge together.
Yeah,
but he was out early. No one liked it.
That was a smart thing that he did.
Yeah, I think he realized how terrible the optics were and how useless Doge was, and how terrible it was for everybody. So,
but I think that if he didn't have all that backlash, just like what Rachel said, I think he could have been a real good contender for 2028. I honestly do. Do
you think the current Republican Party would ever elect an Indian?
Sure.
Yeah. He didn't he just have a you're not white moment with a whole bunch of Republicans?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think he's just not going anywhere, man. Like, look, I would be happy if someone like Ben Shapiro or Ramaswamy was the opponent, not because I like their policies, but because I think that they're serious in a way that J.D. Vance and others are simply not.
Yeah.
Well, that style, that just speaks to Effigy's point about style and personality. I mean, here's the deal. The trouble is that without the term limits, you get your politicians, and all they end up doing is getting corrupt and stuff in their own pockets and not helping the American people or their constituents. And that's happened time and time again.
Well, is there anyone here? Can I just ask? Is there anyone here aside from Rachel who thinks that the Republicans are going to do well in the midterms?
Well, if they cheat, which
if
they might.
Cheat.
Oh, if they cheat, yeah. Okay.
If they cheat, okay. We're gonna
they're already
stand up and straight up election.
That's the world we live in, man.
Yeah,
but no shot in a fair election. Absolutely not. But
yeah, this coming from the party that cheats. Yeah, okay.
Tom Carpenter informing me so gratefully. Things went well today. If you know, you know. Just wanted to let you know I'm still here. Thank you, Tom, and I'm happy for the good news. I'm glad it's all well. All right, back to you guys.
From the party that cheats, what? Sarcastic?
I said from the party, Ryan says that the Republican Party is going to cheat for 2028 for the midterms, and I'm like, I don't know. From the last few elections, wasn't it the Democrats that did most of the cheating?
You think so?
I think so.
Was it Trump caught trying to cheat in Georgia?
Yeah, one time.
More than just Georgia.
This many votes.
One time.
Yeah, not just Georgia. Yeah, also.
One time. I'm talking about.
One election, guys.
He didn't try to overthrow. I was like one election, maybe, but there were many things.
But come on, one time.
There are states currently suing the federal government because they are after their voter roll.
For real, man.
There's shit going down.
Let me make an example. Kamala pretty much took Biden's spot without being voted in by other Democrats.
Well,
Look,
I voted
with
for
you on
Kamala.
Biden getting kicked out. I will say that. I think that was a mistake. I think if the Democratic Party didn't kick out Biden, basically coup him, I think that Biden actually would have overperformed Kamala. But that's
I think Whick might have a point. I have a good point there, and I it's possible. I've thought about that as well. But at the end of the day, like I voted for a ticket 2 elections in a row with Kamala Harris's name on it, and I, as an American citizen, I understand.
No.
Is
that I vote is the next person in line if anything's to happen to the president, right?
Yeah, but don't you have to be voted in, Ryan, to be the next Democrat candidate for president?
Not at that point in the process.
Well, technically,
no. That's what got around it is where they were in the process, right?
Okay, because that's where the part I don't understand. Okay, so
what don't you understand?
Well, FG just explained it to me.
Oh, okay, so we're good. We're square for everyone's tracking.
We're fine.
Okay, great.
How do you feel about losing to Canadians' best?
Oh, yeah, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be okay.
I think I'll be okay. Yeah.
Aren't you afraid about being breastfed by Buttigieg or by Rachel?
I guess I am against being breastfed by either of those people.
I don't know. That was fucking hilarious, though.
Come on, that was funny.
It was funny.
The idea is it's just to entertain. We just want to entertain.
You took it well. I think you took it very well, Wick.
Thanks. I think I'm not.
That's what it was more like. We were trying to debate, and Rachel was having a comedy routine. That is what it was more like.
Yeah,
but that was my thing. Is like if this was a comedy routine and we were doing stand up, okay, fair enough. I think Rachel did well as a stand-up comedian, but we were talking about serious issues with serious implications, and I just don't think.
Well, and like I say, nobody can say what's going to happen unless you got a crystal ball, unless you're Chris.
We can make inferences on the future, though. We can make predictions based on data that tend to have good.
All it takes is one event, and the world's different. You can be riding the high one day, and the next day your career is over.
Yeah,
don't I know all about that?
If you're relying on a dark horse event,
sorry about that, Sarah.
You were doing.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Well, I mean, they call it October surprises for a reason, right?
Yeah, if you're relying on an October surprise, it's just not.
Yeah, because they're always in October.
Yeah, sometimes it's worked. Sometimes it's worked. That's why it's a thing.
When does it work?
Here's a question for you.
It's also kind of inferred that because it's an October surprise, because it's always at the time right before the election, it's always manufactured.
What's an October surprise?
So the October surprise is this idea in politics that you're going to have some new revelatory information come to light about a candidate right before the election in October, like right before the thing, and it's going to change up the dynamics of the race. That suddenly the things you thought were true are suddenly not true anymore, and the candidate that was behind is suddenly going to be ahead because, I'll give you some examples. They tried to do it with Bush when they released his drunk driving record, right? His incidents of him being convicted for drunk driving. That didn't work. They tried to do it with Trump when they released his stuff about grabbing by the pussy. That didn't work. Right?
Oh, that kind of worked. The pussy kind of worked.
Yeah, I think
Bush did it to McCain as well in the primaries.
I don't
with
think
the black baby thing.
Actually worked.
That recording
for Hillary. There was for Hillary Clinton.
I think grabbing by the pussy was a very successful event, and the Million Woman March.
Yeah, definitely hit the ladies' side of things.
I think it put there was a zeitgeist in the electorate during that period of time, and it painted Trump as a sexist and this kind of thing, and it's created this. It kind of created a legitimation. For the hatred that has come from people, and I think unjustly so for the guy. But I thought it was very effective. I thought it was very effective.
Yeah, they had
he won.
October.
They had a video of him talking about grabbing the pussy with some guy named Bush. He was a reporter or something. They were on the bus. They were. Yeah. It was recorded. They were talking about that. And it was like.
Yeah, I just clarified it was October. It was October too. It was October.
Yeah, so these are examples of an October surprise. Is what I'm saying.
Manufactured outrage, and it worked well. It worked well.
It didn't
manufactured to just report on things that he said and did.
You still feel the effects of it today. A lot of people still say, "Oh, that Trump, I hate him." Why do you hate him? Oh, you grab him by the, but this is the kind of comment that.
Well, I think it hits. I think the grab him by the pussy comment hits a little bit different now that he's been held civilly liable for literally grabbing someone by the pussy against her will.
Hold on, who did he grab by the pussy? Who did he grab by the pussy against her will?
Yeah, and why wasn't it me?
Eugene Carroll.
Oh, Eugene Carroll, fuck off. Go in the room. Go away. Eugene Carroll, that absolute.
Sorry, Rachel, can I ask you a question?
By the way.
What?
Eugene Carroll, can I ask you a question? What was Donald Trump found civilly liable of SA in that case?
In New York.
Okay,
oh, wow. You can.
Yeah, it doesn't count if it's in New York.
The answer is yes.
New York.
Hey, what
The answer
happens
is
in
yes.
New York stays in New York, apparently.
Yeah, true.
Here's the same thing. Oh, they found Jesus guilty. They crucified him. He's all dead. He's bad. Jesus.
Jesus certainly didn't grab him by the pussy before they did it.
If Trump was
neither did Trump, especially with that idiot. Holy crap! What was it with the fucking CNN guy? The glorious whatever.
Rachel, what do you think the odds are that in that clip he was literally talking about that incident that he got indicted for?
Probably done it multiple times, so maybe.
From zero to none, you liberal idiots.
I will say I like this October surprise full of full-size candy bars. That is way better sounding to me. But I may be biased on that.
Yeah, no, this woman has zero credibility. It's in a major department store. She did her facts were all wrong. That the whole thing, Statute of Liberties, they had to change the law in order to get Trump nailed on this thing. It was absolutely comedic. And she's not going to see a single penny. When it's all said and done, there's not going to be,
Rachel, I have a question.
That is true. Trump never pays his debts.
True that.
Rachel, if what you say is so true, what I've never understood about the situation, why didn't Trump at least show up to court to testify? Why did he choose not to testify at all?
Well, because he has lawyers, and his lawyers probably said, "We don't want you talking."
I don't think he even showed up for court. Did the lawyers show up? Did anyone
show
up?
The lawyers, he would have had some representation, yeah. In fact, the judge probably would have made it because it makes for good fodder for the cameras and stuff to have his lawyers there.
So you're up for a case and you just decide not to show up, and
your lawyers can tell you we don't want you there. Mm-hmm. And that's their decision. And part of the decision may be we want to delegitimize this thing to it because it is illegitimate in the first instance. You clowns got this guy on 37 counts. He's been shot at twice, hit once. You got what else did you fucking do? You impeached him twice. It's just nothing. And you got nothing. At the end of the day, smoke clears.
Funny how the left gets blamed for everything, but even
there was a conviction.
I can't believe we all. Do you guys feel bad that we did all that stuff?
By the way, yeah. When I personally charged him,
drunk because I didn't remember any of it.
Also, keep in mind, we didn't get nothing out of that, right? We got criminal conviction. We got civil victory for Eugene Carroll. We got 2 successful impeachments.
Exactly.
These weren't nothing,
Who's
right?
president right now?
Because you guys voted him in. Because you guys voted him in to avoid the other 2 indictments that he was facing.
It's actually a really good question, considering how much dementia he's been showing.
2 terms.
Yeah, true. Stephen Miller is the president. That's who.
2-term president. Glory to God.
At least 2. Could be 3. Steve Bannon won't stop talking about it.
So we don't sound like crazy progressive liberals. I just want to say when there is a sexual assault victim, I don't think of myself as we getting, right? I don't think it's that big of a competition. I don't know. It's just my opinion. It's my opinion.
True. There might be something to that.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Rinyal.
I'm sorry, Doug.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I heard my name called out saying this is a panel that I would like, so I came up and I don't know. It feels like I feel like Whick might be actually the best debater in the scene because both of the panels I've been on, when Whick is on here, it feels like the only people that actually want to come up and talk are people who agree with them. So I don't know.
True. Very true.
I wouldn't use that.
This happened last time.
Yeah, Rinyard. I don't think I would consider that to be the variable that you go by in terms of any idea in terms of the debate.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
No,
that this is apparently
you
now
know what?
holy
Let's hear 'em
ground
out.
that
Let's hear
some
'em out.
debaters
I
can't
like
walk on
this.
anymore.
I like this idea. I like
Go
what you're
ahead.
saying.
Kisses
I want
ass.
to
Go
hear
ahead,
more of it.
Renyald. Fluff him up some more.
Yeah,
That's all the fluff I got.
It is
Listen,
Veterans Day. Okay.
You can
It's
only
not a-
you can only comment on what happened, right? It seems like not a whole ton happened. It doesn't seem like much of substance was really discussed. I don't
Well,
know.
what do you have,
Yes.
Renyald? Do you have something better to add, Mr. I'm too good for this panel?
It's not I'm too good for this panel. It's that there's nobody disagreeing. It seems like we all agree that there's no shot that the Republicans do super good except for Rachel, but it feels like most of it is just like a comedy routine. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's comedy or not. The end result is what's going to happen. And what are you going to do?
True.
If Trump wins, if the midterms come back and
Trump can't win the midterms, so I'm not that concerned about it.
But his candidates, the MAGA, the trouble
Well,
is
if that
you gotta get
happens, then
MAGA
we're going to have to fundamentally relook at how we evaluate the electorate. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
we'll see.
They
Like
did.
I'm willing to take a look see, and I'm also willing to come back win, lose,
It
or
also
draw.
depends on if the actual vote matches the
I have a
exit polls.
question. I have a question.
Yeah,
so
go.
I saw Donald Trump doing a very famous presidential tradition. I think we both appreciate that, doing the 60 Minutes interview, okay? And so what would you say to me when I think that Donald Trump is actually trying to regroup or back up because he himself knows that the Republicans are actually losing right now? Like, is that a fair question to ask?
Well, it's a fair question to ask. Is your perception accurate or not? Debatable.
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Also, losing is a very general term.
Yeah, I mean,
losing in what? Like losing in public sentiment, sure, but they haven't really lost too much power.
Trump's still. I mean, the administration is still. Trump's still getting a lot done. He wants that filibuster so he can really get things done. He knows
why he never passes laws. He never wants to. That's the greatest thing about Trump. That's the thing I'll praise to the day I die is that this idiot never passes laws.
Remember,
so it's really easy to wipe away all the stupid shit he does after he's gone.
Remember, we didn't need new legislation. We needed a new president. Remember that quote is the best thing to represent Trump's entire presidency.
So the thing is,
it's wind. It's going to be gone when we gain power again.
Exactly, you're exactly right. All he can do is slow down the process of whatever plans or implementation.
Yeah, he can't stop what's coming. No one can stop what's coming. You know what's coming? A blue wave is coming. Okay, all the people who are like, oh no, the Democrats are going to win and they're going to hunt us in the street. Yes, we are. When we win, I'm giving it right now. Right?
No, but it is.
The Antifa headquarters.
It's just Turkey
today to hunt every single Republican
Turkey
when we win. Okay, that's going to happen.
Hunt how? Oh, be careful. You might get locked up.
Hunt them.
Wick's trying to get arrested. Kash Patel's watching right now, Wick.
In my head, Antifa, we're gonna have. You know what? Actually, I did get my notification from the Antifa headquarters, and it said to stand back and stand by. And then once the Republicans implode in their civil war, what's it called? The Ben Shapiroites versus the Groypers, and then we're just gonna get milkshakes after because you guys are doing more damage to yourselves than I could ever do. Okay, that's all
I'm gonna
saying.
get cookies and cream.
Yeah, I mean, for my money, there's no way Ben Shapiro has the following. There's no way. Absolutely no way.
Josh says making Trump a felon gave MAGA a big chunk of the black vote. Can we talk about Clinton and Epstein Island 33 times, not E. Jean's grape fantasies?
Isn't this the guy who wants to debate me about, I'm debating on Sunday? Josh
Is that Josh? Is that's
a no
Josh?
one?
I have no idea.
Well,
I don't think they
Johnson is actually going to be calling Congress back into session to vote on this government shutdown bill. That means he has to swear in Arizona's duly elected representative who hasn't been sworn in for who the fuck knows how many days at this point. So we are going to get that final vote on the Epstein petition.
I don't think that's.
And by the way, this whole 33 times thing is, this is just not true. Quentin Epstein Island 33 times. This is a made up number.
No.
He probably knows that.
That's not Josh. So At least we know.
Also,
that.
we're not the
Pretty good.
side that
We're not the
also
side.
we're not the
pretty
side
good.
that fucking
Pretty good, Josh.
stands on our team, right? If anyone on the left was an Epstein Islander,
Yeah,
fuck them,
I
put them in
disavow
jail, bury them under the
pedophiles.
jail.
Also true.
Hot
I
take.
disavow pedophiles. I don't want. They are not part of my coalition. They're not.
Hold on, guys. Damn, aren't you guys all minorly attracted? I mean, isn't that what's big this
No.
year in damn circles?
What is
Minorly
wrong with you,
attracted?
dude?
What the fuck
What
does
is-
that mean?
Actually, what is wrong with you? That's a crazy thing to say. No,
What
dude,
is-
I like
is
chicks.
that-
I like
aren't you
chicks
minorly
with.
attracted
What a
person?
question.
I thought it was all
I like
okay
meat
now.
hangers. I like meat hangers and chicks.
I'm pretty sure
Okay,
NAMBLA is all
I thought
right
I
wingers.
thought you guys had all okayed that. That it's all good now. It's just minorly attracted. Nothing to see here.
Oh, it sounds
My
like
bad.
come on, that sounded like a professional douche.
I'll just throw out this one point is that the only reason that child marriage is not illegal in the United States is right wingers.
I will say that was a real
say that
zinger.
Say that again.
It's a
The
religious
only
thing.
reason that child marriage is not federally illegal in the United States is because of right wingers.
Yeah, it's often
Religious
Republican
people
votes that are
think-
shutting down attempts to make that the case.
Yeah, religious people who think that you should be able to get married at very young ages.
Like
Talking about child marriage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Why are we talking about child marriage?
I
That
don't
doesn't
think
make
Because
sense.
Republicans let us make it illegal.
Because
Well,
they
it seems
said
like,
that the left wing were all the PDFs.
Hold on, I do know. You know why we're
Actually,
talking
facts
about
that show
this?
the right
Because
are.
I
No, I
won
don't.
so
I'm sorry.
hard
I'm
during the
sorry.
debate that
Sorry.
that topic has just been
Yeah.
decided. Okay, that's why we have to think of other topics to talk about because
There's so
the
many
debate
topics.
went
So
so
what would-
one-sided, and I love you, Rachel, but it
What
went
would-
so one-sided that we have to talk about other things because we already. I won the prompt in like the first 30 minutes.
What would you say?
Whick.
What would you say the biggest things that would be like the stain on MAGA from like the last 3 months to now be?
Well, I think that his Trump's comments of we don't have an affordability crisis in America is just at odds with the reality that a lot of people are seeing in their pocketbooks. People are having more and more trouble affording their groceries, and Trump promised them that he was going to bring prices down. They aren't seeing that. And people really don't like to be lied to. And that's the biggest stain, I think, is he made these promises. Not just that, but to release Epstein files. He has not done that. And people look at these things and say, hey, we voted for you to do these things and you haven't done them.
Why didn't Biden release?
I think the tariffs.
Why didn't
I
Biden
got a
release?
few friends in the U.S. They're doing good. You're not doing good. I'm sorry. What
I'm
were you
doing
saying?
all right, but a lot of people I know are struggling because they can't afford groceries.
No, that's fact, man.
I mean, it's expensive. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, they're
Like, if
ridiculous.
you're doing good, you're doing
Before we,
good.
can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I mean, Trump is on record. He's bragging about this Thanksgiving list from Walmart, right? And it's 15 items, and it's all great value items. And he's comparing it to a list from 4 years ago or last year. I know, just from last year. Where it's 21 items, and there's more brand name items, and it's cheaper. And it was only 25% more expensive. But it's like he's literally like misrepresenting the numbers to like brag about his accomplishments. But obviously, anyone who goes to the store knows he hasn't brought prices down. So.
Nope, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I
don't
feel like
sit.
I feel like the grocery prices. I feel like I'm paying double and I'm getting half. It does hurt, and thankfully, the actual Josh, is that the same? Was that your
man himself? Yeah.
It didn't like I brought it up and it looked like you, but it didn't look like you.
It's a different picture. It's a different picture.
Well, I remember you had a different channel or something, I thought, though.
Maybe.
I
have one question for everybody, and this is going to sound super fucking controversial. And this isn't like a gotcha, whatever, just a genuine question. Define a MAGA. If there's a MAGA, what is the MAGA?
Who wants to go first?
Trump
supporters.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the definition of Trump supporters for MAGA. And there's anyone that no, hold up, let me clarify.
Okay.
I have what definition? Great, that was quick. The definition is a Trump supporter
hardcore.
Does that mean
I
anyone that
disagree
is
with
not a Trump supporter or whatever? All right, I'll hear the next
Well,
clarification.
I believe the
Josh,
sentiment
I love
is-
you, brother.
I just like to talk.
I believe the sentiment.
What are you guys even
is-
saying?
Consider, hold
No,
on.
I
Let
believe
Rachel
the
go.
sentiment. I believe the sentiment is "Make America Great Again." So the concept behind MAGA is to push it in such a way where we are bringing down prices, where we are making things more wholesome, more secure. I think crime rates would have been kind of on that list. Getting rid of all of these localized issues, more in, I would say, leading more towards isolationism without doing isolationism. But taking care of us instead of taking care of everyone else and fixing what we have at home. That's how I interpret it and understand it, but I'm not definitive.
It's a question for anyone else. Is that any different than America First? Is that the argument? Because
Well, what do you mean by
I'm a
America
dirty
First? Are you
constitutional
talking
conservative.
Ben Shapiro America First, or are you talking Groyper America First? Which one?
So
there
I'm
is a
talking
difference.
about America First. I'm not talking about Israel
Okay,
first.
which one of America First? Ben Shapiro version or Groyper version? They both claim they're
So
American.
that you're I reject your presupposition.
Well,
There's
to help you,
more
Wick,
than a
to help, I
Groyper
can help
or
you
a
out.
Ben Shapiro version of America.
I can help you out a little bit, Wick.
Not the
'cause this
version
guy,
of America,
I'm debating
the
him.
version
I'm debating
of
him
the-
on real quick, guys. I'm debating him
Okay,
I
on
consider myself
Sunday.
America
Hang on,
First.
yeah,
Go ahead,
I'm
Ryan.
Is my mic
Go
muted?
ahead, Ryan.
No.
Go
Like,
ahead,
I'm
Ryan.
debating this guy on Sunday, and the initial prompt was that women shouldn't be able to vote. So I think that's if that answers your question.
Then he made it
MAGA
easier.
soldiers, true.
Well, why do you guys do this identity politics, right? So O.J. Simpson famously said, "I'm not black, I'm O.J. I'm not MAGA, I'm Josh." Why is it this?
You should be appealing to O.J. Simpson for your morality. Famously, a very moral guy, very good guy.
Hold on.
To be
What does that even mean?
Take away the
It's
right
a
of- hold on,
rhetorical
just real quick.
argument. It's not about.
What's your
Okay,
name?
I
Josh
get it.
Stacy? Is it
that is
Stacy?
my
Is
name.
your name Stacy?
He's
You
running
want
for
to take away
Congress.
women's right to vote? Okay.
Oh, I didn't say I want to
why
take
do
it
you want
away.
to? Hold on. Is that your argument? I'm just clarifying. I don't know. Are
No,
you
you're
arguing
you're
that we
gonna
should
be
take away women's
dying
right to
until
vote?
Sunday. You're gonna love it though. You're gonna hear
Okay,
all
but
sorts
is that
of
your,
stuff.
like?
about it.
Is that your
My position is
advocating?
I don't
for?
want to spoil the surprise. I know we're all excited. The prompt is, should every adult vote? And Ryan, please clarify if it's wrong. That's what I'm preparing for. Is should every adult vote? Is that
I think the exact prompt that Sarah wrote that we agreed to was do all adult Americans have the right to vote? I assume that we're just I guess we can clarify now. Like I assume we're not talking about like felons and stuff like
no? And I'm
obviously.
not going to beat you up. I'm going to say things like, what if they're retarded? And you're going to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. And we're going to find a lot of easy wins right off the bat. Or maybe you think the mentally handicapped should be able to vote. I don't know. I can't wait to find out. But the argument is that
why can't you?
I think you should be able to vote.
Hold on. It says
If you're of
universal.
sound mind, you should be able to vote.
Shut up. God damn, I'm sick trying to talk and y'all keep being stupid. The prompt is universal suffrage. Do all adults have the right to vote? I would presume colloquially we're going to leave out people that are in prison, people that are have special needs and not coherent and capable of doing those things. I think that would make sense to automatically presume no, they can't even tie their own shoes.
I don't know.
right?
Ryan, let me ask you this. Do you think felons should vote?
Should I mean I'm willing to accept that the reality is right now that felons we remove their right to vote and that maybe that's justified. I'm also open to I'm open to that changing in the future. I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but
Yeah, I think there's a lot of axes. There's ownership in community, a renter is in a community, so they should probably have a say in what's going on. People that own property should have. There's a lot of different ways to slice it up.
Let's save it, John.
So,
Yeah, I
Wick,
was gonna
all
say,
this
maybe
to
you should
say,
just
it's a
move this
big
up.
topic. We can't just do a binary. I'm sorry, Wick.
And to
I
be
want to
clear-
answer your questions. You got a
Sure,
flag I
just to-
love
just to
behind
be
it.
clear. So fair enough.
And a great beard.
You're not
Yeah, go ahead.
necessarily arguing for women to have to strip their rights to vote. So fair enough. That's fair enough. I guess I'd just ask you, do you think that currently in the current topic, do you think that MAGA is going to win in the midterms?
I'm gonna go back to the first thing I said, and I don't mean to be a tool, but what is MAGA?
Okay, let me change my question. Do you think the Republicans are going to win in the midterms?
Go.
So I'm mostly agreeing with your sentiment. I think that the Democrats, and I'm not referring to like, the average Democrat, but in general, I think the Democrat machine is much better at cheating. And I think they're going to do great. I think they've got this locked down. And I'll tell you this. Now, I am a failed candidate for state Senate. I got 28% of the vote with $1,500 on the Republican ticket criticizing Israel, which is a pretty spicy take in 2024 when I was saying it. All that to say, what I saw when I was campaigning was the Democrats were a lot better at locking arms, and Republicans were more split across. They were more fractured ideologically.
Correct.
I think that the shutdown and how that played out.
What the hell does that have
to that sort of reasoning? Because we
What
saw
are- I'm sorry,
Democrat
run that by me?
defectors and we didn't see any Republican defectors, aside from Rand Paul.
I don't even understand the prep. So you're saying that So I'm
my
talking about the
argument
campaigning, and what
here-
I'm saying is no. I'm saying during the campaign process, Democrats are fucking outstanding at it. They'll lock arms and sing Kumbaya, and they'll roll in, and Republicans don't have that same united front. If they
I
did,
disagree. I disagree on
Right.
fundamental.
Okay, I
We
just
can
said they're
see-
well organized and they have it locked down, and you're saying no. Okay.
No, Democrats are not well organized.
I'll respond to Grumpy Tomato here with peace and love. Okay, boomer.
Hey, that's my dad you're talking to.
I said what I said.
At
Choose
least say,
better, do it wrong. I don't
shut
know.
up. At least say boomer, sir.
Yes. Okay, boomer, sir.
Thank you, Ryan. And let me read some super chats. Real Hydro PX says, did he say the only reason child marriage is not legal is because of Republicans? FG.
Yes, I did.
Illegal.
Yes,
Well,
I
no, he
did.
said the only reason it's not illegal.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, correction.
They're also the only
sorry,
ones who keep trying to lower the age as well. Just saying.
It's just the reality. Like, look it up.
Ugh, it's so cringe.
So
Jason
gross.
says, Sarah, all the Democrats are sad they aren't getting food stamps. All of them, my Dem friends up here, are you sad that you're not getting food stamps?
Most of the people who are on food
Most
stamps
food stamper,
are
yeah,
from red
children.
states.
Our food supply
Um,
system is so depressing. It's so hard to justify. This is coming from someone who is a foodie, right? I was a steak, a bottle of wine, blowjob guy. Sorry, Sarah, no offense. I would go pick up
eat
a
a
good marbled
blowjob?
ribeye, a $20 bottle of red wine, something that I was familiar with and stuff. And it's outrageous. We deserve nice things, but I don't feel like the free market alone or government alone is going to solve a system that large and that important.
I gotta pay like $500 for a blowjob now.
I agree. I agree with what
Gotta
Doug's
get it
saying, but I
for
also want
free.
to add, like Whick was pointing out, most people who are on these sorts of benefits are from rural red Republican states. Like this is the reality. People like pretend this isn't the case, but again, I encourage you, Google it. Learning is radical. Look this shit up.
Tyler and Tatiana say, I don't know where you're at, Wick, but gas here in PA is below $3 a gallon, which is better than Biden prices. The pumps don't lie here. I will say gas prices have gone down.
Not in my area. And look, gas prices they fluctuate and they are different depending on what part of a state you are in.
Hold the fuck up. Is this really the argument you're making, Wick?
That gas prices
Yeah,
are
gas
different.
prices don't fluctuate.
No. So your
No, but
argument
gas
is
prices
gas
fluctuate?
prices nationwide haven't gone down because you, wherever the fuck you are, allegedly just granting this, it's not lower there. So everyone else with lower gas prices is. We're not making a trend.
You didn't get to make an argument.
Wick,
The
what's
super chatter, hold on just real quick. The super chatter brought up the gas prices. I did not bring up the gas prices. I brought up grocery prices, which are, again, we can look at, as Sarah will attest, you're paying double and getting half.
So do you agree then that your gas prices are lower?
I don't have data on that. Not for me personally.
Okay.
Well,
why should I take a random super chatter's word for it?
No, the question is
Also,
universally.
can we all agree
this is a part of the
that
problem
it has
here.
more to do with setting gas prices than any United States president? Like that's mostly OPEC. That's price of oil. We maybe can change like gas tax amount on it. You can maybe supplement supply with some reserve sometimes, but most of that price is never us. We don't just dictate that shit.
You got to.
Well, I think that the reason this is a flawed argument, right, is because like you could say the same thing about all the externalities of grocery prices, right? So we were holding Trump to account earlier when we're talking about grocery prices, but then the gas prices come up, and suddenly they're like, well, it fluctuates. So I understand where they're coming from, right?
Look, I just leaked you the data on PA gas prices. We can look at it. We don't have to argue about it, and you could just look.
I wasn't just arguing. I was just curious. If you're saying you're the only person in the country that isn't experiencing lower gas prices. Said you were. All right, I'll take your word for it.
Let's see. Today's a national average as of today, $3.0307.
That's national, yes.
National average, and then Pennsylvania is $3.27. So you're 27.
Yeah, it's
generally 27, 20 cents more. Oh wow.
And it can be up to about $3.50 in like the more rural areas in Pennsylvania.
Right, because gas taxes can be both like state and just local.
Yeah,
they can stack gas taxes.
So, I mean, it is pretty cheap in like Philadelphia. I'll give you that.
Would you agree that a lot of people have experienced lowering gas prices, or do you think that
I don't know? I don't have the information.
Well,
on
you
that.
don't
I would say so. I would say so. I think gas prices have gone down. Just from a quick like cursory. I mean, I just.
My
asked,
man,
like,
we're gonna have such a
like
reason
25 cents. Maybe.
Yeah, I won't be happy until I see nationally gas prices under $3. I think I don't think we've seen that in a while, and I think that's where I start.
7 cents.
Get it under $3, and then you're going to see a lot of happier people.
All right, Whick,
nationally
by January. It would
definitely help, even though it.
Also, can I just bring up something really quick? We always talk about prices and whether prices go down. In a growing economy, you always have inflation. That's why the target inflation for the Fed is 2%. There will always be inflation in a growing economy. The only way you get deflation is to have some kind of market crash or other event that drives the needle down. Like the only way we're going to get cheap prices again is if some bad shit happens, basically. So it's either keep it stable and only have it raise a little bit, or bad shit makes things cheaper.
Jason says, Wick, I was in the business as the 4th generation. Gas prices are cheaper based on nationwide prices.
Okay. I mean, like, again, I don't have data on the gas prices specifically, but I will say that one of the signs of recession is a huge dip in gas prices because they have less demand, because less businesses are transporting goods, less businesses are fueling their trucks and their fleets. So, it's not always a good thing when you see a huge dip in gas prices. But again, I don't have this specifically.
Wick, quick question. How many factions of Republican, MAGA, conservative, whatever do you think there are?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say a lot.
A lot. I can't give you a specific number. I know there's at least 3 major ones. There's
those are
old school conservatives, right? Like the Dick Cheneys, the neocons, those kind of people. Then you have what I would consider the cult, the MAGA cult of personality for Trump, right? Where they just go what Trump says. Then I think you would have the Ben Shapiro types, right? That are more of like in that bubble a little bit, but they're not the exact same. Then you have the Groypers. And then you have the Groyper adjacent people, right? Like I would say Tucker Carlson is now that. He's not a Groyper, but he's Groyper adjacent, I would say. So that's
closer to them for a while.
The dome.
Well, I mean, those aren't MAGA though. I mean,
I didn't ask MAGA. That wasn't the question. The question was how many different conservative factions are there?
Oh, yeah,
there's a lot, and those are the 4 major ones I could think off the top of my head.
I mean, I'm surprised you're even saying Groyper, if I'm honest. I don't think statistically.
It didn't used to be. It used
That's
to
like
just be
a
you
loud
were
crowd
John Maine
fine.
Republican, right? Isn't that crazy? You could be a supporter of the military who voted Republican, but you wouldn't see someone who simultaneously owns pew-pews and has like a massive interest in real estate. And now, Donald Trump says, well, that's everybody. Everybody gets to go do the same thing. We're all the same. We're clones. Like, didn't you run for Senate? Like, what would you say to that person that you're talking to?
So when I ran, Nevada is about a third blue, about a third red, and about a third independent. like they're not fundamentally that partisan. So part of why I had the reach that I did and why I think the Republicans really missed out on an opportunity was I appeal to a broad audience because I generally get along with a lot of folks. One of the reasons I'm looking forward to having a debate with Ryan is I think him and I are going to be able to find a lot of common ground and get along on stuff. And I think there's a lot of interesting things we actually could be arguing about instead of who's a groiper versus not a griper and maggots.
Did you see?
But
Did you? Sorry to cut you off.
Are you sorry?
See,
doing it? Go ahead.
Did you see? Did you see Nick Fuentes fans when you were out campaigning? Like, have you ever seen that?
So, how would I identify somebody that I saw as a Nick Fuentes fan?
I don't know. I would guess a
I
giant.
didn't see anyone wearing a Nick Fuentes t-shirt. I didn't see anything that led me to believe they were. I don't know what it is that you're looking for on that one. I will say a lot of these
are wearing a swastika or something. That might be a telltale.
Swastika, or yeah, or they.
No, I didn't
they
see
have
anybody wearing any swastika.
Barcode tattooed on their forearms.
It's funny,
no
they did
barcode
catch someone wearing
tattoos.
having a swastika flag, and I forget the congressman's name, but one of the
That's right.
Republican congressmen at DC, they had a swastika flag, an American swastika flag with the lines in the shape of a swastika. That was crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're going after people who have like LGBTQ flags on their desk or whatever, or had one last year.
The ones with the Israel flags, the ones that bother me the most.
The most?
Why? More than the swastika flag?
Yes. There's
Why?
no group of swastika people currently with nukes and some secret intelligence that has more successful assassinations admitted to than anyone else will admit to. The swastika guys, you want to say they're inbred rock eaters from West Virginia or whatever?
We have
Fine, I'm not
reports that
scared of them.
30 to 40% of the staffers on the Republican side in DC are groypers. They have a
define a
lot of
groiper for
influence
me?
and power.
What
in
is the
party.
groiper in 2 or 3 sentences? What is a groiper?
The groiper is someone who believes that the Jews are the enemy, that America needs to isolate, and that we need to go back to like I don't know, the 1950s or some shit.
Okay, follow-up question. If
They're white
someone
nationalists.
if someone believes,
Yeah, white nationalists.
Yeah, basically.
okay, so if someone believes that we shouldn't be backing Israel, but they don't believe that Israel is the enemy of all mankind, are they like 10% groiper, not groiper?
No, that's not
that's not
sufficient to be a groiper. They can be 0%
Okay.
groiper and have that belief.
True.
Okay.
Jason says, actually, before I retired 4 months ago, we were delivering more gas than any time under Biden.
Okay, well, that might be true for seem to play out nationally, right? That may be true for his specific company.
Exactly.
But again, one of the signs of the recession that, again, Besant has said that parts of the economy are currently in and more are threatened to fall into recession was a dip in gas prices and a dip in demand in gas.
Wick, have you bothered looking at repossession rates or foreclosures, like so repos on cars or foreclosures on houses?
Aren't we like I did look at to debt rates ratios, and there's
No,
about-
I think those are good arguments that would support your position. I don't know that I share your position, but if
Yeah.
you're looking for negative economic indicators, like in Nevada, I think like 10% of people are having their car repoed.
Well,
It's some way crazy high
nationally,
number.
actually nationally, I think it's for the last 90 days we are defaulting on debt for credit cards specifically more than ever, like before.
That's part of that is a carryover because the debt was accrued during and post COVID explosion. A lot of folks were saying we did see good tourism numbers post COVID because folks were said they were loading up their debt, and yeah, it's not a good sign when people aren't paying their bills.
It's worse when they're not able.
Well, I also wonder if
Agreed.
this younger generation cares.
What do you mean by that?
To pay their debts.
I don't know if it's the younger generation that are defaulting. I think it's
I mean, they're not paying their student loans.
I didn't break it down by
Isn't that
age
debt?
bracket.
What the tomato? What the?
They are though.
I wanted to hear what you were saying.
I think it's the younger generation to just, and I could be totally wrong, but just my impression is they enjoy spending, they don't like saving, and they don't like paying bills. Like that's the student loan is the one piece I would have referred to as well, but I think the 30 to 50 would be more responsible, I presume, unless they're, single moms or stuff like that and circumstances. But But I find
I think
the
that's always been true, though.
late 20s, early, like not even touching 30s, are people that they're just, I don't know. I'm just finding that generation behind me to be very irresponsible fiscally.
Well,
I
is it
think you're-
possible that there's other circumstances that it's not purely
Whoa.
irresponsibility that's causing this influx? That it's also
the
just like
fuck?
conditions where they're having to spend more, to exist. And
Are
they're
you
making
okay,
less?
Ryan?
I think so.
Jason, hold on.
Is this
Jason,
guy
are
tripping
you okay? Because
Yes, I
you've
am.
kind of just been randomly interjecting things.
I'm sorry.
And with these panels,
Okay,
that
I'm
stuff
out. I'm
doesn't
sorry.
work very
No,
well.
I'm gonna mute up.
Okay, thank you. I think it was Josh and Ryan were going back and forth, or someone. I forget.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the data set. I'm just curious. Like, isn't it possible that instead of just, because I think there's an instinct to put it all on irresponsibility. Well, if they, like like it's these damn kids, like they're just irresponsible with their money. Like, isn't it also possible that a lot of these people who are defaulting on their loans and stuff, like, are people who otherwise were actually paying attention to these things, and they're just spending more and making less. Like that.
So I'm going to agree with Ryan. I'm going to agree with your point, but not under the logic that you gave. When I was 20, I got a credit card. I bought my gas and groceries. I paid off every month. I got a mortgage. I bought a house. Later, I bought another house. I used credit as a tool to get a house. I don't think anyone under 30 thinks they're getting a house. I don't think anyone under 30 is saying, hey, I'm going to keep a good credit score because I want to go out and do this, that, and the other thing. So the reward for good credit is lower. So I think the incentive to be responsible has been lowered. Yeah, and I think a lot of it's choice, though, Ryan. A lot of it's personal accountability.
But also simultaneously at the time where everything is its most expensive relative to what everyone's making, we've also fostered a ridiculously materialistic society where people just want shit. They just want stuff. And,
I mean, during COVID, yeah, go ahead.
No, they'll just get it any way they can. It just seems like opulence and decadence in a material sense has ruled the roost for quite a little while now.
We had like 40% inflation over like a 2-year window. Like, people lost most of the value of their dollar way fast. It was pretty friggin' ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this younger generation does a whole lot of spending on stuff that's not necessary. They're the subscription group. They're the latte group. They're the short-term happiness type of instant gratification. They don't believe in saving to pay for it later, to buy it later. They're the buy now, pay later people. And
you know
I
what a
think
good
it's-
investment? You know what a good investment is? It's donating to the Raging
Guns.
Tomato. Super chat.
Oh, yeah. And that.
That is going to be. Don't seek material riches. Go from
Seek
riches.
giving them
and
to
content.
Sarah.
Okay, just letting you know.
Yeah. Considering.
Sarah, nice to meet you. I just messed around. No, it's all good to meet all you guys. I love your guys' context. It's great. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
So true, King.
Yeah,
I want one of what Jason's having.
I know, seriously. Like, at this point in my life, what would it hurt at this rate? Fuck my life.
That's bleak. Come on, let's have some.
Well,
positive.
I'm just the younger generation, though. There's a lot of instant gratification. Always have to have the new phone. Always have to have a big TV. Always have to have the games. Subscriptions to fucking everything and anything. And like, they keep saying that they can't afford houses. I get it, but they're also reaching for the moon when they can only afford the tree, right? Like,
Well, the argument I've heard from a lot of people on the right that are mad because Ben Shapiro got in trouble, right? And I don't think he should have, because I think he was just correct, where he said something to the effect on his interview with Trigonometry, where he said something to the effect of, if you can't afford to live there, you should move. And people got so angry at him from the Groyper side of things, from the I would consider the Carlson side of the Tucker Carlson side of things, because they were like, well, it's your birthright. It's your birthright to grow up where you live. And you have a generation that is being taught that you have some sort of right to live where your parents grew up. But
you have a claim to this land.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense if you think about it for more than 5 minutes, right? Because you think, oh, well, what if your parents sell your house? Do you still have a right to live there? No, you sold your house. You don't got a right to live there.
But see what we did, and I think maybe more people are going back into it though, but families did stick together. Whether it's living with your parents for a little while until you build up, or living with aunt and uncle, grandma, grandpa, living with your older brother, something along those lines. More people were doing that and saving money because they could. You weren't just like leaving and then going and paying thousands and thousands of dollars in rent. It's just it's stupid. And we've split up the family unit, not only in the internal aspect but in external as well. And people are in such a hurry to get out and get their own place and do their own thing for shit that like they could have just had a little patience and waited, a little bit longer and gotten a better deal or whatever the case, or been able to afford it. And I think that's a piece. But I would
individual
agree.
freedom is what everyone sells, though. That's what everyone wants.
That's what I'm saying.
The TV tells us we want.
We broke up that I don't know. We broke up that unit and then said, okay, go be on your own and figure it out. And look, I'm all for kicking the bird out of the nest too. But I also know that when it's too expensive to do certain things, sometimes you have to be frugal and smart and make sacrifices early on. But this generation isn't willing to make sacrifices where they need to. They just say, no, I deserve to have all of this shit and this shit too.
And the reason that they don't is because of the Jews and immigrants, and that's what they're being preached to, right?
I mean, that's a defensible position, though. Wick,
what you want is because of the Jews.
Oh, it's a defensible position. Do you know what Nick's real beef is in like the 30-second version of it?
It's not a defensible position.
I want to hear it.
He called him by first name.
Yeah. Well, so Wick, question: do you know? Just yes or no, or feel free to explain. Do you know what Nick's like simple position is?
On what specifically?
On immigration, for example.
On immigration.
You're saying he's
if I had to guess, and I don't know, but if I had to guess,
Okay.
you can tell me if I'm incorrect here, is that you know what? Every nation, or what he means by nation is ethnicity, should have their own governance. The ethnics, like Spain for the Spanish, England for the English, Germany for the Germans, that like Africa for the Africans. That would be his kind of ideology, if I had to guess. Am I correct?
Well, so I'll give it to you the way I heard him tell it, more or less. He grew up in a suburb in Chicago.
Was I close though?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm gonna.
I'll tell you used to represent it. I think he's evolved, but Josh, yeah, go ahead.
Like I'm not. I don't want to throw it out of hand, but you asked a direct question. So he grew up in a suburb in Chicago, where like there was a community and a culture that was consistent for a while, and over time he's noticed in areas it doesn't even look like where he grew up. It doesn't look where he lives. The amount of immigrants that we've had come in over the last 10, 20, 30 years is radically shaped, especially in some areas. Sometimes in some areas we have more immigrants, like recent immigrants, like last 20 years, than US born citizens. So just supply and demand economics mean if you take 10% of a population, or rather if you take a population and you bring immigrants in the amount of 10% of that group, start off with 1,000, you bring in 100 immigrants, you've now put a demand of 100 on there. And our messaging on our immigration right now isn't come be American. It's come do your thing here and do what, let me finish. I'm almost done.
Sorry.
It's come and do your thing here. And we'll just have to adapt around it. And we'll just press one for English and everything. And I'm not even saying I'm against the press one for English, but I believe Nick's position isn't, well, we need to, it's just, look, communities benefit from stability. And if you have a bunch of people coming from a bunch of different cultures, and you're going to have problems. And there's not a defensive, you can't look at a city that's had significant immigration in this in this country and come to a different position.
Yes, you can. And I'll give you that example. New York
What city?
crime. Yes, New York
Jesus
City.
Christ! No.
Well, let me. Hey, I let you
Roosevelt
make
Hotel,
Let me
and I
make,
just
let
shut
me
up.
make mine. Let me make
Let me hear
mine.
it, yeah.
We can look at the crime rate in the 80s and the early 90s, and we had a spike of immigration during the 90s, 2000s until now. Crime rate has gone down. Things are better now than they were in the 80s and 90s, even though we've had a massive influx of immigration. That doesn't mean there's no problems, obviously, but we can see that the problems haven't grown more. They have actually gotten less.
Correlation causation, though. What are all
Well,
of
the
the
argument
determining
that Josh
factors
is
to
making
crime
here is that,
dropping?
hold on, the argument that Josh is making here is that you can't name me a city in which this has happened. And I gave you a city in which this has happened, where the problems have gone down in immigration.
No. You made a claim. I haven't. So the Roosevelt Hotel. Are you familiar with how this has happened with the immigrants?
The Roosevelt Hotel. Are we talking about a city or a hotel?
Apparently, a hotel.
There's this really nice hotel in Manhattan, which is in New York City. So in New York City, in Manhattan, there's this hotel called the Roosevelt. This is a pewter mug or something. It's actually from Roosevelt Hotel. I don't think you're going to be able to see it. All this to say, beautiful hotel. From 2000, you can just look this up. From 2023 to 2025, they had like 150,000 immigrants there. They wrecked the place. Just wrecked the place. Don't take my word for it. Go look at the pictures and the videos. Go look at, now we're talking about affordability crisis. That's why Madami just won New York City, was partially saying, oh, you can't live here. It's too much money. Now, what happens if you've got 1,000 units in a building and 2,000 more people need to live in it? Is it going to get better or worse?
Do you think that the affordability crisis in New York City is because of immigrants?
I think it's a huge factor, demonstrably so.
I think that.
Okay, let me ask you this: when the New York City is spending tax dollars to fund immigrants and not take care of their own, is that helping their own, or is that helping bludgeon or siphon tax dollars to other people? Which is, I'm not against supporting people, but let's be honest.
I think we have the money to do both, first of all. And I think that I don't feel a loss because someone else is getting a benefit that I am not, because I don't need those benefits.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Do you think that the people that can't afford that can't afford rent because it's going up? Okay,
I just want to point out, right? I want to point out that I gave you a whole city in which case you had massive immigration, but the problems within it have gone down. And then you gave me a hotel as an example. And I will just cede the ground to you that in very specific instances, I'll just grant to you that, okay, immigration can have negative effects. But when you look overall at the country and the nation, immigrants have helped us become a much more wealthy society. It has actually helped, right? The biggest problem with cohesion in America right now isn't immigration. It's this.
Two things. One, I'm immigrant blood. My ancestors came from Germany. So I'm not anti-immigration. I'm anti the way
we all have immigrant blood.
And that's a nuance that you guys throw away when you're trying to make the argument for immigrants. Now, Whick, can you go look how the metro's doing in New York City right now with all of the immigrants? And please tell me how the public system of transportation that they all rely on to get to and from is better with what's going on right now.
Immigrants have caused the problems with the metro in New York?
I don't know their reasons. You're the one saying that it made things better.
You don't know why the metro is going down, but you're blaming immigrants that it's going down.
No. What I'm saying is I don't know why they're doing the things on the metro that they're doing. Okay, you're not even really engaging with the argument. The point is the metro in New York City has gone to absolute shit. It is not safe. It is not. Let me finish. Let me finish. Real quick.
Immigrants, then I don't think it's germane to the conversation at hand.
So how much money do you think do you believe that? So you just said New York City, you believe.
Again.
No. I want to, let me button you down to one
point.
My point. Let's zoom in. Okay. What's your point?
No, I want you to address my point.
No, what's your point?
Okay.
What's your point?
Where's everyone going? Oh, we're just being.
It's you and I. What's your point? What's your point?
My point is that unless you can give me an argument, unless your argument is specifically that the immigration and immigrants in general have caused the problems with the New York City metro system, then I don't think it's worth talking about of why the New York City metro system has gone to shit. Give me your argument if you have it, and we'll talk about it.
Well, so
but otherwise, I don't know why we're talking about it.
You said you framed it as you pointed at some crime stats and said when immigrants came in, crime stats got better.
I'm
said
not
that,
saying
yeah?
that's correlated. I'm saying that the immigrants didn't make crime worse, which was your initial point that you said, name me a city in which you had massive amounts of immigration where things got worse, where things didn't get worse, right? And I'm saying to you that we have a example of New York City where things have in general gotten better. Now you can point to onesies and twosies of things that specifically have gotten worse, like affordability, or these things. But then I would argue to you, what did immigration have to do with those things?
I just think you're being daft. Like, I really like. I don't think like. I'll give you a very clear example. You set up the criteria. You said, here's the criteria. We're going to measure crime stats, and when the immigrants came in, things didn't get worse. Am I mischaracterizing your position?
Yes, I'm saying that. Well, no, you're not mischaracterizing.
Okay, so on just that point, you're setting the stage as that's the standard, and I think that standard's insane. There's a million more insightful ways of looking at this than simply diving in and taking a look at, well, we have these crime stats.
Okay, well, give me a couple. What better stat, what better metric would you point to show that immigration has hurt New York City?
I would say in the last 4 years, and we could expand it a little bit. I don't want to go all the way through time. They're taking enormous amounts of cash away from programs that help residents of New York City and putting it to immigrants. And because they can't fund their own programs, they're having to take things away from their taxpayers. And even if that wasn't the case, let's say they could fund everything, then they're charging too much in taxes.
Well, I'm not too familiar with the programs in New York City. I don't know if you are. Maybe you are.
Are you familiar with the budget of a city when they're spending 10, 20, 30% of their budget?
Let me ask, what benefit that an American citizen in New York City has gotten less of in the last 4 years because of immigration? Like what benefit?
They have seen the cost of housing go up.
Healthcare benefits? What?
Their cost of housing and healthcare has gone up, as of their tax burden.
Yeah, but not into a appreciable different degree than the rest of the nation as a whole.
Hold up. The asylum seeker services, I just Googled this, so whatever. $3.7 billion. You're telling me that doesn't have a negative impact on the city of New York City?
Okay, I'm asking you, what is the negative impact that you're saying that it has?
I'm going to simply ask you this. If the government has money and they could spend it on something, and instead of spending it on their taxpayers and their residents, they're spending it on something else, would you not agree that the $3.7 billion not going to the taxpayers and the legal residents is intrinsically problematic?
Not intrinsically, no.
All right, then I'm not going to.
A lot of their needs are being taken care of. I don't want the nanny state, right, to being taken care of its citizens forever. Like, these people need to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, right?
I used to live in New York. I got the fuck out. It's part of the problem that New York state itself has is they're so regulated. Anybody with any sense in them, especially younger growing up, can go find somewhere else to work, will get the hell out, which means you have a shrinking tax base. And the amount of demand for the aging people keeps going up.
Has the tax base of New York City shrunk in the last 2-4 years? I just don't know.
So I'm saying New York State over the last, it's called the brain drain. It happens in a lot of states, but in particular New York, because the government is incredibly restrictive and the taxes are very high. And so people get the fuck out of here.
I'm just going to look from 220 to 225. Have taxes, and I'm just Googling this to be fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
Have taxes in New York City gone, like the tax, I guess, base of New York City gone up or down? Let's find out, because I don't actually know.
You'd be looking at partially population. I mean, I will say Madami getting elected means a lot of people are going to be moving their assets out.
I mean,
the law Letitia James made sure that a lot of folks didn't want to be hanging out there either. Like, you've got to be out of your mind if you've got a business.
I'm not actually seeing an appreciable difference at all. It hasn't gone really up or down.
What is it that you're looking at?
I'm just looking Google the tax rate and base and things like that.
I mean, it's basically working population. I mean, but like there's a foundational argument you won't agree with me on, which makes me think there's nowhere to go from here. Which is, I said almost $4 billion is going to asylum programs, and I think that's a problem for the residents.
Well, I think that
you're saying no.
actually help the especially if these people are going to be net contributors to the city as a whole. Like you can have more service workers, you can have more cooks, you can have more people who, even on the high end, right? More people going to American colleges and American schools. How do you think we spread American culture throughout the world? Is we bring immigrants in here, we take them to our colleges, then they go back to their country and they again spread liberal American values to their places. This is traditionally how America has increased its soft power throughout the world. And when we look at locally, how does that benefit Americans? Well, then you have cheaper goods, cheaper services, all these things. The city is cleaner if you have more of these things. Now, that doesn't always work out to that extent. But again, if we're looking at New York City specifically as a whole, crime is decreased. Things are overall better in New York City today than they were 30, 40 years ago.
I wish, is there anyone in chat from New York City right now? What's going on?
I'm not.
This is insane, dude. What you're saying, and it's not even. So let me ask you this. Oh,
we're back.
We're no longer. Yeah, we got it out. We got it out. The struggle session is over.
I just didn't come like with New York City stats, man. I just don't know them off the top of my head.
Speaking of struggle session, ladies and gentlemen, you have only hit 7 out of 10 on the dono goal. And it is depressing.
And I was one of them.
And you had 3 fucking hours to do it. You have 40 minutes. Actually, I'm going to give you less than 30 minutes to make me a happy tomato before I shut this bitch down and go to bed. Thank you. Back to you guys.
I'll just add one thing.
I just want to put up
when you real quick,
Sorry.
Josh, you were saying like 20-30% of like New York City budget's going to immigrants. I just pulled up, it's like 3.5% in 2024, 2.7% this year. So
thank you for keeping me honest. That's fair. So around 3% is the number we'd agree on.
Josh, hold
up. Let me just. I want to get to you, Doc. I would like to just wrap this up with Ryan.
Joshua, real quick.
Okay.
I yield to
Ryan
Doc.
just said something. Yeah. So because it does seem like
never yield to Doc.
Yeah.
Go
It
ahead,
seems
Doc.
like it really seems to me like runaway storytelling, right? And so like, from a tribal perspective, again, because you're presenting yourself as this, political candidate. It's like, I want to know, I want to know who Mr. Stacy is. He's up here on panel with us and stuff like that, just us plebeians. But when you make it seem like immigrants are running around with knives and, and magnets and stealing credit card information and stuff like this, and New York is spending all their money on this big problem, right? This is the story that comes out of what you're saying, which is completely delusional.
So, Doc, let me ask you just a question. Supply and demand.
It's another example.
If we've got more folks coming in that are going to need housing in a limited area, will the cost of housing go up or down?
So you're asking me about home prices or rents?
Yeah, what I'm saying is if we have a certain amount of units and then we have more
Sure.
people coming in, it's I don't mean to be dismissive here, but a foundational element of economics is supply and demand have a relationship. More people with fewer available, with the same amount of available units means price goes up.
Certainly in the short term, yeah.
So you're talking about real estate in New York City. That's what you want.
No, I'm talking about
around
the
the
laws
country.
of economics.
Okay, well, I understand the laws of economics.
Great.
So when supply contracts, if you have elasticity, that the price of the product goes up. And demand should decrease. Demand should decrease as the price goes up to reach a new equilibrium.
Right. So as the price goes up, I agree. Yeah. And that's the affordability.
Economics agrees too. Yeah, economics agrees as well.
Speaking of economics, Tom Carpenter sends me a whole $10 to say, what happens when more people are available to fill a job role in general? They could take the lowest.
It really depends
Well, you can say-
on how, like, is that job getting filled normally? Is there an oversupply of workers that are looking to do these specific things? If so,
Yeah,
where
I
do you
was
send
going to do
each
those
week?
specific things.
Say one more time. I'm sorry.
I was going to do those specific things.
What specific things?
Oh,
Those
you were
specific
saying
things.
those
Those
specific
ones?
things.
Jason.
Listen, Whick,
All right,
listen.
Hold on. Jason.
Look, I'll pour one out for the homie, I guess.
Can I ask, how
Yes.
high and or drunk are you?
I had 7 beers and 2 dabs. So I'm
Okay. You can fill the panel seat, but
okay.
just stay
Okay, I'll
muted.
shut up. I'll mute. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm muting.
I don't know how to deal with that.
I mean,
did
he's
great.
great
Even
to
forgot where
look.
I
He
was
looks
going with
great
that.
on screen, right? That's very attractive with all the colors on the screen, and it's brings people in, right? But shut the fuck up.
Just be
Sir,
eye
this is a
candy,
Wendy's.
okay?
Yeah,
Smile
just
and
be
look
the
pretty.
eye candy. Just shut your fucking mouth, right? If you don't have something good to add, shut your fucking mouth. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but I'm not exactly in a good mood right now. You know, like when money's flying in, I'm a lot more happier. Okay? But if it's not coming in and you act like a douchebag on my panel, I just have no tolerance for it.
Just
And
go make free
nobody's
donations.
Yeah, go donate, Jason, so that I have more tolerance for you. That's a great
Yeah,
idea. That's a
$50 would
great
make her really
idea.
happy. Okay.
The Catholics
Uh,
originated at
did
penance.
did we I don't think we actually answered this question that Tom had, did we?
No, I did not.
started to. Yeah,
When
go ahead.
what happens when more people are available to fill a job role in general? Again, it depends. Do we have an undersupply of workers for that? Is there a huge demand that isn't being met? If so, that's actually a good thing when we have more people available to fill those jobs, because then those jobs get done. And if those jobs are necessary jobs, like in agriculture, right, in medicine, nurses, etc., this is actually really helpful for the economy. It's really helpful for the locality that which these jobs are getting done. All these things are benefits. Now, if we already have a supply of workers and the jobs are being filled, and then we get more workers in, then we can have a situation where wages are depressed and things like that. But it can also spur innovation, because if we have more people willing to do these jobs, we can have more companies build up, invest into the area, because we have more workers who want to do these things. But it really depends on a lot of factors that I just can't answer the question simply. I'm sorry.
It
Yeah,
also
I'll
seems like
say
such a
something,
strange
JP.
argument
So
to make that low income housing drives house prices going up, right? Because these people would not be going. Well, it doesn't seem like they would ever go into anything but low income housing, and low income housing is notorious for driving values down. No one wants to live by low income housing, right? Like, people complain about the projects lowering their property value and shit like that. So why could you make the argument that immigrants who need more low income housing actually drive prices up, especially in a place like New York City, where it's obvious why prices go up? It's location, it's business, it's all kinds of things except what you're talking about.
So I'd love to answer your question, but it takes about 90 seconds. So we'll see how far I get. Imagine, if you will, you got a pizza. There's 10 slices, right? None of them are rent controlled. None of them are subsidized housing. Now you take 25% of the pie, right? You say, this is all either subsidized housing, rent controlled, whatever else. The amount of dollars of rent that are competing for the remaining 75% are fighting more competitively, which is why, going back to my campaign experience, I was really surprised. Real estate developers, of all things, really like controlling politicians. And that's because they can artificially inflate the demand. And so if you take a chunk of the market out, you can raise the rents on everything else. It's supply and demand.
Isn't that conspiratorial? But isn't that conspiratorial? Like, if you're a real estate developer, wouldn't you just want to develop real estate places in our massive free economic zone that we live in, where there's consumers for your real estate, where there's a market? You could look at things like home prices, number of transactions. You would just do those things instead.
No, that's a great question, and that was a point I mulled over for a while. Now, one of the things a lot of people don't know about Nevada is the federal government owns most of the land here. As long as there's not land that's available to develop, the value of the land that is developed is more expensive, which means real estate developers for building the same house on dirt 6 zip codes away get paid 2 to 3 times more, or whatever the numbers are. But the value of, for example, if you're within 20 minutes of the Strip in Vegas, the real estate's going to be a lot more valuable than 2 hours from the Strip, and the land there is plentiful. But no one's going to want to live there. So the real estate, there are developers not going to, with the same material cost, basically the same everything else, they're not going to be able to move the inventory at the same price. So as long as
Arizona, so my city in Arizona actually brought Deloitte in, And like, so there's tons of stories like where you can just give tax incentives to companies because you want accountants making $100,000 a year, right? Like that's
sure.
Yeah, so that is so I'm just saying that, like, instead of the conspiracy theory, there's like another sort of side to this too.
So do you think that when organizations like Keystone Foundation that are funded by real estate developers are donating to candidates that ultimately pass legislation that's favorable for this is conspiratorial as well? Because you can look at their donations, it's all public.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not holding politicians accountable at the ballot box and when they're doing their television appearances and newspaper appearances, money in politics is just a very thin aspect of, kind of what of the problem. It doesn't all reduce to dollars and cents.
Speaking of dollars and cents, Tom Carpenter says it does not depend in general. There is a general rule for what happens. It has happened to my sector and Ryan's many times in the past 50 years. And additionally, speaking of dollars and cents, I've put a 15-minute $100 dono goal. Either hit it or we're gonna quit it. And if you guys want to respond to the super chat,
yeah, I'll say one thing and then I'll let everyone else go for a minute. But then I'm probably gonna bounce, so I'll give like a closing after that. But I mean, I think Tom's right. Like maybe we were kind of waffling a little bit earlier. Like obviously, like it is the case that if there's like way too many people applying for the same job, like then that causes issues, right? Like the wages for those jobs will decrease because there's
they have the
too
option
much supply for it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
there's
mean,
like
that's
there's
obviously
a
true.
ton of
But
industries
as
in
Whick,
America
as Wick's probably about to explain, like there are also a lot of externalities that make this like more complicated in practice. But go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of industries in America where we just cannot fill the demand.
Name
for
one.
jobs. They're just
Name one.
Sure. Nursing.
Yeah.
Teachers.
And why is that? Teachers?
Yes. You can't find teachers. They struggle to find teachers.
No, they're terrible.
Hands
They're
are
just
badly.
terrible. Thank God we abolished the
give you
Department of
two.
Education.
We didn't,
Right?
but they tried.
Damn it. We tried. We wanted to. We want to real bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it
If
was
people
really
could
terrible.
actually read at a higher rate now than 20 years ago, we might not be as excited.
I don't know. I
Not sure
know
how
a
the Department of
girl
Education
who
resolves that.
is when she told me that she started teaching at an elementary school, I kind of gawked a little bit because I was like, ugh. Like, because I know her personally and I know how she is, and I'm just like, I don't like
I dated a
that.
teacher once.
But yeah, there's struggle to get teachers, especially in my state of Pennsylvania. They're just really, really.
So you want to,
struggling.
and I might be running down the hill with this. Is your solution for that bringing in immigrant teachers?
No.
Oh, okay.
But like the
It's funny
question
that the people who
wasn't-
bitch about it the most are never the kind of people who would actually devote their time to helping small children and
Well,
teaching them.
I
right?
mean,
I
like
went to college to be a fucking technology teacher.
being a teacher is a hard work, and you get almost nothing, right? You are underpaid and overworked. So I
think you've been
understand why
listening to
people don't wanna
feminists
be
too much.
teachers in America. But I
mean,
will
it's just
say,
reality.
right, that there are other industries like that we just don't have people to work. The agricultural industry is one of those industries where we cannot get enough.
Or is it just priced because
fill the work?
or is
People
it just
don't wanna
priced
do that
for the cheap
job.
labor?
Huh?
Or is it just priced for the cheap labor? If, for
No, it's
example,
not
we didn't have, let me finish, if I may,
Seasonal-
just finish my sentence. If we didn't have illegal immigration, then they would be forced to hire American workers or innovate around it. I'm done.
Wait,
What about like seasonal farm
immigrants
workers?
hurting
If
teacher
you
salaries?
if you only have work 6 months out of the year, or if you, for example, in Arizona, you can see we're 29th in teacher pay, and so you can see like the similarity is if you're a seasonal farm worker, you know the months you can work, and you probably know about what you're going to get paid. If you're a teacher, you see what you're going to make for the next 5 years of your life, and it's right there, right? Like, so there's reasons those careers are not like something like working in a service job.
So,
well, and I will say, I want to touch on the education system. The education system needs reform from the administrator perspective. Most of the problems that we're seeing is from that part of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, just on the agriculture point, right? We definitely don't have an oversaturation. I don't want to steal your thunder for the super chat or anything like that, right? But we definitely don't have an oversaturation in that field. And when we've tried offering more money, we don't get more workers. And if
not what I said.
we were to, I know you didn't say that, but I'm just saying this.
So you're arguing against
right?
something else. Got it. Yep.
Well, I'm making a positive advocacy for immigrants to do agricultural labor in America because it helps us have more affordable groceries. And we are having a struggle. One of the reasons Trump had to stop ICE raids on agricultural facilities is because prices were going up.
So how do you feel about the Glass House raid where ICE found like a minor child working at a cannabis?
I don't know much about that story. I think it was made up.
Oh, okay. So you think it was made up?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of stuff.
$10 if it isn't? $10 if it isn't? You got $10 behind it?
I don't know enough to bet on.
Oh, you're not going to put $10 on it, though?
Yeah, because I'm not sure about the story.
Oh, okay.
I think there's way more stories of ICE, assaulting people and arresting U.S. citizens than there are of them finding children working in farms. But
well, the bigger point isn't about ICE, and I know you guys are real pissed off about ICE. The point is this illegal immigration isn't explicitly just about who can work and who can't. It invites a lot of other ugly things, not the least of which is child labor and other exploitation. And if they came through lawfully, they'd have protections and be able to get other jobs. I don't know, maybe jobs that aren't out in the sun. And then maybe the farmers would have to actually innovate or adapt.
Well, I think we've found out in the last few months that it doesn't matter if it's lawfully or not. People are going to be against that immigration at all. Right.
How do you mean?
Because they've been going after people who are going through the process lawfully. ICE has been tackling them too.
Yeah, they're like arresting them at their court hearings and stuff.
So because, well,
can I do a quick
criminal court hearings?
Yeah, Ryan's gonna go ahead and exit. Well, let's let him exit.
Yeah, well, I mean, to the topic of the debate, I mean, I didn't watch the debate. I'm sure Whick did fantastic. As it sounds like happened when I came on, I kind of heard the briefing of it. But I mean, yeah, like it's clear that America is not satisfied with the Trump administration for a wide variety of reasons. Not least of all is the expensive groceries that he promised on day one were going to go down and have only gotten more expensive. There's a million other things that we could talk about, but I mean, I think that's just well established. So I guess we'll leave it there. I'm Ryan, Radical Coder. You guys already know. So I'm going to stream a little bit more on my end. If you want to come hang out, just open it in another tab. Don't leave Sarah's stream or else I will fucking find you. All right. Bye, guys.
Wow.
Saucy.
Later, Ryan.
We'll set the raid to go to Ryan so you guys can go hang out over there. Iotin asks, with the Big 10, hi Jeb, happy Veterans Day. When more people are available to fill a role that there are available jobs for that role, that's called oversaturation and it would lower overall pay, right?
And that's
the
situation. That's
way.
true.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have a thought to add into that?
Yeah,
it can. I would just say it can. Wages are complex, especially for like companies that sell value-added products. It depends if that company itself, not to get like too into my opinion and stuff that's just my opinion, but like it depends if there's a monopoly or an oligopoly, how fast the aggregate market is growing. Because it's often the case we've seen in tech. Tom might know this because I know he's a big tech guy, that like, yeah, you have a ton of people who want to do customer service or sales for a tech company like OpenAI. And then, when it seems like, the thing's going to bust, it's completely full, you realize that the global market's still growing at 10 or 20 or 30%. And you're still seeing growth in the United States. And so, it's just important to kind of keep in mind that, some trends as well, maters, like when there is a recession, it's usually low wage jobs that get cut first, and low wage jobs usually come back last. So it's always the case we're punching down at the little guy.
Well, there's also some, and this is common misinformation, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but the idea that raising wages in farm work doesn't lead to an influx in workers is not true. The Economic Policy Institute study that people cite there even says in the study that what you're examining when the wages went up 10% in 4 years, by the way, wasn't that proof that the wages rising didn't increase the labor force. It was a reverse causal relationship between a reduction in the farming labor force causing an increase in wages. That increase wasn't enough, but if anything, it suggests the opposite, which is that having this sort of agricultural industry propped up by illegal immigrant labor is keeping prices down. And the moment you do feel a shock and a constraint in farm labor, you actually do almost immediately see those wages rise in response. So the data suggests the opposite endpoint to what I think Whick was getting at, which is this idea that just have the illegal immigrants do it because white people aren't going to do the job. It's not true.
Well, can you
Farm
give me an
wages are lower
example
shit.
in where they have raised wages and a majority of white people have taken it up on that offer? Can you give me an example of that happened?
That's a weird twist.
Yeah, that's a wild. I don't think I
No,
made a
you're-
claim that relies on the idea that a majority white people suddenly
American citizens, sorry. My bad.
Before you answer
well-
that, Jeb, I do want to acknowledge my second favorite color being put on the screen. But Tom didn't want to put my favorite color on screen because he prefers I go get some rest instead. However, if anyone out there decides to choose otherwise, you have exactly 2 minutes to do so in order to extend this panel. You know the rule. Get it in or don't. Go ahead, Jeb.
Yeah, I mean, so farm workers already are a majority legal workforce. Definitely a lot more illegal workers in farm work than basically any other industry, but they're already a majority legal workforce. The argument is whether making it more primarily legal would increase the wages, and the data seems to suggest yes, 100% that is the case. Now,
That's not my argument. That's opposite of my argument. I'm saying that even if we increase wages, we won't see an appreciable growth in legal American citizens taking up that job. I think we've hit a ceiling on that.
I mean, there isn't any data to suggest that we've hit a ceiling. The evidence that you would go to for that is essentially every market working that way, in that when you raise wages, more candidates approach those jobs. I wouldn't say you need a specific study showing that in agriculture. I think to make the claim that agriculture is somehow this unicorn industry where you've hit a ceiling, that's the bold claim that needs
teachers. We can look at nurses. Like, this isn't unique to the agricultural industry. This is how it works in nursing and teachers, two other high demand jobs that we just can't fill.
I mean,
no matter how much we offer.
That's because of inflating demand, not because the candidate pool is static.
We also have an inflation of demand of agriculture because our population grows. Yes.
Sure. What I'm saying is, you said there is a ceiling in supply for the labor.
It seems
and then
from the
now
data
when
we have.
When I challenge that, you say, well, actually, no, there's not, but there's an inflating demand and the supply lags behind it. That's exactly what you just said. You said
not what I said.
You said we can't fill those jobs, and I said that's because of inflating demand, not because of a ceiling on workers. And then you said, well, yes, there's also inflating demand in these two industries. You didn't double back on the claim.
Hold on,
So
no, I
the
brought up
evidence
that
shows-
because you said that agriculture industry was unique in that way. That
No,
other
I said
industries
it's
we
not,
have,
and
that's
that
just not
making
true. And I
that
gave you two
claim-
examples of where that
Well,
wasn't
wait.
true, and that's the teaching industry and the nursing industry.
You're wrong. Both of those industries
Okay,
have
I just
more candidates
we have the
than they
data on
did
this.
before.
Like, you can argue with the data.
No, you're wrong. The data shows there are
everybody's
more nurses and more
wrong.
teachers now than there were 2 years ago, and the same before 2 years before that. There is an ever increasing candidate pool.
How
It
much?
is just that the demand increases faster.
How many more teachers today than we had than 5 years ago? You know?
Let me double check.
Sure, double check.
While you're double checking, Jebtan, you can include that in your final statement. Effigy, let's kick it off with you. We're going to shut this bitch down. Go ahead with your closing thoughts, Effigy. Effigy.
I just realized that Rachel hasn't spoken since the debate ended. This was a weird night. Yeah, I'm just gonna end with that. I'm gonna be very, very succinct today.
That's fair. That's fair. Doc, how about you, sir?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me up. As always, Miss Sarah, our very gracious and diligent hostesses. Great debate, Rachel. I feel like you're someone I would get coffee with, even though we disagree about everything. I feel like we could be friends about our interests and stuff like that. Wick's it's always great to catch Wick TV on his channel. Rachel, I'll have to go sub to you. And so I just want to say 7% for Curtis Sliwa is an absolute joke to me. That's telling of everything. And it's also the case that, if I think for the next leg, if we see a regrouping from MAGA Republicans as an opportunity to attack, and if MAGA Republicans see a regrouping as a way to keep up Donald Trump's campaign of murder and death, then we're not going to get anywhere as a country. We have to find things that both conservatives and progressives agree on, rooted in actual politics and actual history, not in woke praxis.
Perfect. Thank you, Doc. Jeb, to you.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the original point, I don't think it's a referendum necessarily on like the GOP as a whole. It's definitely a referendum a bit on Trumpism itself, but I think Democrats should be careful in how they conduct themselves, because these are local elections. I think like 90% of these races were projected to go Democrat anyway. So if they are too, gregarious in their ideas of how well they're going to do in the next election, in terms of just thinking everybody wants to be their friend and everybody's joining the club, they're going to have problems. So I think that overall, the Democrats can rest easy knowing that I think Trumpism is coming to an end, but they need to relax in thinking that means that everybody's going to jump ship from voting Republican in the next actual election, not just these kind of local elections.
It's fair. Joshua, to you, please. And don't forget to shout out your debate coming up.
Oh, yeah. Ryan and I are going to talk about voting rights. It's going to be fabulous. You should come, and you should definitely look. Between now and then, you might be thinking, I want to get some coffee. I want to get some snacks. This thing on Amazon looks good. But save that for donations for Sara. That is what you need to do. That's very important. I think to the topic of the debate, I think this notion that conservatives are MAGA and Trumpism is something that the opposing side has rode pretty hard, but it's just, we're more interesting than that. And I think conservatives are going to regroup around different candidates. I think Trump, especially in this term, disappointed a lot of people. And when they're disappointed and pissed off, they're talking to each other and figuring out what they're going to do at the midterms. So if it is not a blue wave on the midterms and there is strong showing on the Republican side, I think that will mean that we've, the conservatives sort of broken away from this idea that we need to, take lockstep with certain, like the GOP sort of mainstream, quote unquote, mainstream GOP views. If they go rogue and feral, then God bless America. And Wick's not as much of a retard as I thought.
No,
thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome.
Maybe a libtard, but not a retard.
No. I don't even do that. Look, he can get like 80% there. That's great.
I love you, Wick. Miss Rachel, to you, darling.
Great show, Sara. Always a privilege. So much fun to be here. Great channel, great topic. Wick was fantastic. He's a really good guy. And he was very gracious to have me on his program. There's no crystal ball. We don't know. There's intangibles. So anything can happen, especially in politics. Fortunes can change overnight based on one story going viral, and it can change everything. And so it's, for me, it was a great night for the Democrats. Nobody can say otherwise. I'm just saying it's foolish to take that and say, we're all in now. It's just me, the football, and I see the goalposts at the end of the field. Nothing's going to stop us now. And I say, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans, to quote the legendary John Lennon, of course, my favorite musician. So, Sara, thank you. Wick, thanks you. And Joshua, you're a clean thinking, you got a good brain there. And Jeb, I'm liking what I'm hearing from you. Holy smokes, there are some conservatives floating around, which is nice to see. So, or independents, however you want to call yourselves. So that's my bet. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you, Rachel. And Wick, to you, please.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Sara, for hosting this. And thank you, Rachel, for being gracious and having the conversation with me. I do appreciate that. Thank you to all the people who donated tonight. Thank you to the people who came in to call in. Always appreciated. Always like to see the energy, like to see the participation, like to see the interaction. To the topic of the debate itself, I think that I made a pretty sound argument on why the results of not just the November elections, but pretty much every special election since the election of Trump points to a pretty strong blue wave in the midterms. Now, I am always willing to admit that Democrats are famous for snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. That could happen, but it doesn't look like it will, because people are voting more against Trump than they are for the Democrats. And people are not liking what Trump is selling. They're not buying it anymore. And you can see them running away from him politically across the board with policies, from immigration down to the economy. And then you look at the results of November 4th. It isn't just that the Democrats won. It's the margins which they won at. We're talking 20 to 30 points in Pennsylvania. We're talking 20 to 30 points in Georgia. We're talking huge amounts of flipping seats in every county across the board. Deep red counties that haven't voted blue for 100 years suddenly are voting blue now and kicking out the Republicans. I think that is telling and indicative, if this keeps up and if this momentum continues, for a blue wave. And I think it will, because I think what's driving this momentum is the fuck ups by the Trump administration. Things aren't getting cheaper. Things are getting better. People's lives are getting harder, and they were promised that this wasn't going to happen, and they're not buying what they're selling. But thank you. If you want to find me on my channel, you can go to Whick TV on Twitch or on YouTube. That's where I stream these days. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be debating the soy pill on whether or not it's okay to make fun or to celebrate publicly the death of one's enemies, such as Trump or other bad people. I say it makes you immoral, and it's a strategic mistake. Soy pill disagrees. So that should be a fun debate. Come in, check us out. On Thursday, I'm having Counterpoints on. I'm having Ryan Mullally on. I'm having Lactoid on. I'm having who's the fourth guy I got? Oh, Ash on. And they're going to be talking about the civil war on the right between Fuentes and Shapiro and the Carlson and all that, right? So that should be a fun. They're all right-leaners. They're all right-wingers. And that should be a good discussion. So check us out. And thank you again, Sarah, for having me. And that's my closing.
Somebody actually just brought that topic to me recently about the Nick Fuentes and if he would be taking over the right wing kind of arena. So I don't think I'm going to do it, though, because I think they were having an issue finding a partner or something crazy. I don't know. They went off on a tangent. Tom spares no expense when it comes to making me feel like a princess and putting that pretty pink color up on the screen to say, for the kindness you've shown and for the people who don't know, Sara cares. And there you have the 2 pink instead of 1 red. Yes. If you don't know, I take care of my maters in more ways than one. And I don't mean that in a perverted way. I mean that I care about you as if I was your own mother. And most of you, some of you probably already know that. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. We're going to send you guys over to raid Ryan. Go send him some tomatoes and tell him to fuck off.
Bye.
I needed a birth control that could keep up with my lifestyle.
Because I could deal with cramps, but not something cramping my style.
That's why we chose Nuva Bling.
The discreet yet diamond-encrusted ring that inserts neatly into the vagina.
It's pizzazz that slides right up into my choach.
Plus, you can customize Nuva Bling by adding your own fierce and glamorous charms. And instead of throwing Nuva Bling away each month, you can reuse it as jewelry.
So wow up that womb.
Glam up that clam.
And shine up that shine.
With Nuva Bling!
Say goodbye to the same old birth control with Nuva Bling.
And yeah, it does hurt.